All right, everybody. I think I'm live. I'll check and see. And you have to bear with me just for a couple minutes because I've got to kind of get this all set up. And it's hard to really do until I'm actually live. So, um, let's see if I'm live. It's not showing actually even on YouTube yet that I'm live. Maybe I got to go to my channel. That's the problem. All right. I am live actually. And there's 3 people watching. Shira, hello. Sarah, hello. And CZ, hello. All right. So like I said, I've got to kind of do a little back end stuff here to kind of finish setting up the video and setting, excuse me, getting this all set up. And then I can start from there. And we already got people in the waiting room. That is awesome. So hopefully we're going to have a rocking night tonight. All right, we turn that on. And I want to get a link and actually try sharing this live and see if even more people will come, like share it on, Facebook or whatever. All right, why does that say off? It's supposed to be on. Done. Save. Okay, I think that change has been saved, and I need the video link to be able to share the actual live stream video. Copy link address, so that should be good. Now let's go to Facebook and put it up there. Your channel. Let me get back to the video and see. Okay, we got 16 people, so it's coming along. Great. Sherry Mills, hi. Natalie Messier, hello. John Guerrero, hello. Mo Hurley, hello. Allie, hello. All right, so I got everybody rolling up. All right, so let me run to Facebook real quick, at least to the JeffMara podcast. And if you don't know about the JeffMara podcast, I do have a page there. And most people, when they ask me, how do I communicate with you directly, that's a way that you can do that. So back to this. Where is it? Oh, and so you can find me on there, and that's where people talk to me there. You can always message me. So I'm going to put a post there and say the podcast is live. And there it is. Cool. So I posted it there. If I had all NDE people, I could possibly put it into the NDE pages on Facebook, but the majority won't be NDEs, and they probably will get angry at me. So it's probably not a good idea that I post that there. Okay, where am I? All right, we're back. Good. 50 people. Awesome. Thank you guys so much for showing up today. I really appreciate you, and I hope we have an awesome show. Do I have any announcements before we get started? I guess my first announcement is I've passed 20,000 subscribers. That is awesome. Thank you guys so much for being a subscriber. I really appreciate it. For me, I really don't want to celebrate until I hit 100,000 and I get one of those silver play buttons. So I kind of want to have a party to 100,000, but I don't know how to really have a party because you guys are there and not here with me. But maybe I can figure, excuse me, something out. Anyways, that's what I want to celebrate. Nobody is saying that they can't hear me. I guess everybody can hear me. Hopefully my mic is loud enough. And if it's not, please let me know. I can always get closer to the mic. And I think we're about ready. I think we're ready for the first guest. And my better half, Mara, will be here soon. She's just not here yet, but she'll be helping me with the chat. And I believe Lighthouse was first. Now I've seen Lighthouse. I've seen him leave comments all the time, so it's going to be interesting and cool to meet him in real life. I hope everything's good. I don't know. I won't know how everything sounds until he gets here. So it says he's joining. I'm praying for you. Sound is much better. All right, good. Excellent. Excellent, excellent. And where is he? He's still joining. If it's a he, I don't even know if it's a he or not. I kind of feel like it's a he, but I'm not sure. It could go either way, right? Wow, Allie, thank you so much. That's awesome. I appreciate that. Thank you. And while we're waiting, I'll let you guys meet Mika. She is my little girl here. Sometimes she sits on my lap when I'm doing podcasts. She's a little Yorkie. Uh-oh, he didn't make it and I lost people. So she's half Maltese, half Yorkie. And maybe uh-oh, she's caught in my headphones. Let me get Betsy in then. Let's see if Betsy can make it. Admit. We'll see if that'll work for our first one. But she is like the most relaxed, chill dog ever. She's so sweet. And she needs a haircut. She's real fluffy right now. She looks a lot heavier than she really is because she's all hair. Oops. All right. So, Betsy, I hear you. I just don't see you yet.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
That's okay. We're halfway there.
Okay. I wasn't expecting to be seen.
Well, it's YouTube. We got to see you, Betsy. It's
okay.
not as fun unless we see you. Nice to meet you. Where are you from?
I'm in Norway. I tried to write to you before. Do you remember part of my a spiritually transformative experience? But I wasn't sure if I wanted to share everything.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, now you're here and we're ready for you to share. So tell us what happened.
Okay, well, I can share part of it, not completely all of it. This is an interesting surprise. Anyways, my spiritually transformative experience happened about, the precursor, it happened back in 1992 or 3. I was traveling between Oslo and San Francisco during that time. And a friend of mine, a really good friend of mine, had this book. It was called A Book of the White Stone. And it was like a mystery book. And basically, it talked about spirituality and awakening and the whole thing. And back in 1992 and 3, that was still considered kind of a radical theme to discuss. And the curious thing was that at the back of the book, it had like this layout. It looked like a Ouija board. The layout was the same, but it was not a Ouija board. It was just like, the letters and the numbers and the yes and no, hello, goodbye, just on a regular white piece of paper on a book. So basically, this is that for those who have messages or those who are, need to be spiritually awakened, there's going to be messages coming along. So, I was kind of hesitant, but very curious. So, my friend said he started to get messages. So I said, okay, well, if my friend can get it, maybe I can get it. So I started to play around with the letters for a while and nothing happened for 2 days. But on the third day, when I placed my fingers over the white page on the book, my fingers started to move. And I was using like a guitar pick as like a piece to move my fingers around. So I was thinking, wow, this is kind of interesting. So in the beginning, it would just like point to the hello and the I love you and certain letters, and it started to make out certain messages, but none of it was earth shaking or anything, just like hello, how are you, or something like that. But by day 3 or 4, something incredible started to happen. I started receiving messages like incredibly fast. And basically, to speed the story up, I didn't need the book anymore. I didn't need the board. I started receiving messages directly.
Wow.
And all the messages were about the importance of creativity, the importance of art as like a expression of love. But the funny thing, and the unsettling thing for me was that somehow in the back of my mind, this entity who came through was trying to profess itself, because it had like a very masculine energy, as like a benevolent spirit. But somehow, I could read through the messages came through that this entity, basically had like a very arrogant personality. And it was kind of rude. Even if the messages themselves were talking about the importance of love and everything, I could still feel somehow that this entity somehow was not exactly of the higher nature. and that it really had some kind of bizarre, arrogant feeling to it. And anyways, this messages that I received absolutely continued for at least a week during my waking hours. And I was really annoyed and I couldn't shut it down. But, but I guess it kind of like, dwindled away after like a week or so. And it seemed to me that I was being shown like some kind of prescient dream or prescient, vision of this entity or energy that I was supposed to meet. So that was 1993 or three. And like really speed up this story, I would say around 2003 or four in Oslo, through a nonprofit, through an NGO organization, because I was working on human rights issues and humanitarian issues. I was introduced to this colleague, to like a journalist who was working on human rights and humanitarian issues in different war conflicts around the world. And when I finally met this person, and at like a cafe, at like a public cafe, but it took me, I think, about a few weeks after I had met the person that I was thinking like, I've met this person before, and it dawned on me that this person was the earthly human manifestation of that spirit entity that I was introduced to way back in 1992 or three. So we're talking about a lapse of 12 years. And just to make the story, really quick and short, succinct, this person, very interestingly, was doing so-called humanitarian affairs, but his personality, I found out, was pretty much what they call in psychology like a communal narcissist. In other words, he was doing things basically that looked good for the public, but basically inside, the way he treated individuals, including myself, was less than stellar. So, I know that many, spiritually transformative experiences usually, if you're indicated to meet someone or a spirit entity or guardian angel, they're usually of the highest self. But in my case, it was different. It was unusual because this entity on the other side was presented to me as like a higher person, but in reality, he wasn't. Mm-hmm. And, I'm so glad that I listened to my gut feeling back in 1992 when I sensed that this person or entity was rather arrogant. And the nice thing, Jeff, is that I kept a diary back in 1992 or three. So just a few days ago, I went back through the diary because I wrote down all the notes or the messages that were sent to me. Mm-hmm. And then I verbatim wrote what this entity had passed on to me. And it was remarkable because, I still feel the same way, that this person had ulterior motives. But actually, there is a silver lining to this story because of all the curveballs that this person has sent to my way. I mean, he and I established some kind of communication relationship. But because of, let's say that because of, a lot of the hardships that he sent to me, I even worked harder in my field of human rights and trying to protect women from violence. And because of the enormous amount of work I put in, I basically succeeded in the work I was doing. And strangely enough, this person started to fade way back in his scene, Mm-hmm. So it was almost, so I came to the conclusion that maybe there was even like a higher intelligence out there, whether you want to call it God or source or whatever, that on purpose wanted me to meet this entity back in 1992 with like a foreshadow, and to meet me in person, and to have me meet this person in person 2004, to prepare to meet this person, and to basically hand a mirror up against himself to show what he was really like. And so, I guess, maybe God works in strange ways, because I was not expecting this to be the end story of why I had met this entity or person. So, as we speak, the timing is really amazing, because it was just 2 days ago, like I said, that I went through my diary and journal to read exactly what I had written down back in 1992. And now 2021, I still come to the same conclusion, 18 years later, that there was something dodgy about this person. So I just want to like send out a message to you all that, I mean, I understand that we're all hoping to meet the highest intelligence possible when we're, taking risk or, are curious about the other side. But I think it's really also extremely important to not to throw out our gut feeling, not to throw out our, our higher intelligence. And, if you feel like there's some kind of red flag in whoever or whatever you're encountering on the other side, I think that's important to take into consideration. I mean, I don't know what your audience would say, but I learned the hard way that I had to use my gut feelings. And when people say follow your heart, I mean, I do agree, but don't exclude your gut feelings is what I'm really trying to tell the audience.
Right.
But yeah. Yeah, so
I think you make some great points, especially if you happen to meet entities on the other side, whether it's through some kind of OBE or Kundalini experience or even NDE, that some people will say you don't give away your sovereignty. And, and from the way you describe this person, I'm just giving you my opinion, by the way, but it sounds like that this is an entity or being that's kind of earthbound. It isn't a higher frequency or vibrational entity. It would be somewhere else. You know what I mean? And so since you were able to contact this entity, it may be an earthbound spirit. So again, I agree with your point that, you have to, if red flags come up, be careful. It sounds like this book was very similar to a Ouija board, and it kind of sounds like you were doing a Ouija board. My only question is, before I have to go real quick to keep it going, is you said that you were getting messages without even using the book anymore. Were they just like, how is that happening?
Well, I guess it was like what's called classically like a medium situation. I mean, I would just be in like kind of like meditative state and the messages would just come through me. And it continued that day for at least like a week, I mean, and it was very scary because, I actually didn't want to receive the messages anymore. And, again, I thought that there was something a little bit strange because usually, in all the spiritually transformative experiences I hear about, people are able to kind of control the messages to a certain extent when they come in and come out. But in my cases, there was no way of stopping it.
Right.
And it basically disturbed my work. It really disturbed my work for a while.
Yeah. And, some people will say, be careful with the Ouija board. And it seems like it's likewise with that book.
Yeah, it's really strange, but I mean, I have the book still, on my shelves remarkably back in 1992, but it was basically like a regular book. It was called The Book of the White Stone, and it was written by this person who actually had also like a spiritually transformative experience. And his experience was kind of like, like roller coaster up and down, but in general it was positive. So when you came to the last page on the book with the letters and the alphabet, you wouldn't see it like a Ouija board, because if it were a Ouija board, I probably would have stayed away from it, definitely. So, but as I said, because I believe in the higher, happily ever after, I believe that there was actually like a much higher intelligence maybe choreographing the whole thing so that I would eventually meet this person and use my highest intelligence to do something good that was for humanity. So at the end, there was like a silver lining, but I went through a lot of hassle, put it that way, over the years of meeting this person way back from 2004. I met him in person around 2004 or 5, all the way up to a few years ago. So, I mean, I'm telling you all, it's great to meet, entities from the other side, but, don't throw away your gut feeling.
Yeah, I
agree. And that's really important, I think, Yeah.
I agree. And some people will say there are no coincidences, so you never know. You never know. All right, Betsy, I got to run to the next person, but hey, thanks for coming and sharing today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. If I undo the video, is it okay? I mean, I can still listen, but I don't have to show my face.
Well, I mean, you can just go back to, are you on YouTube? If you go to YouTube,
I just connected the Zoom link.
Okay, well then you just get out of Zoom and you just go to YouTube, and it's live right now on YouTube, so you can just watch it from there. And
I'll just do it live then.
Maybe you can all right. Maybe in the chat, people can tell you what they thought about your experience.
Okay, all right, that's great. Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, so that was cool. don't report. And let's go. Let's try Lighthouse again. Lighthouse tried to get in and couldn't get in. So we'll see if it works this time. All right. So what do you guys think? Do any of you guys use the Ouija board? And if so, how do you feel about it? Do you feel like it's, do you get scared using it, or it doesn't bother you? I guess it doesn't bother you if you're using it on any type of regular basis. Thank you, Stephen. All right, there you are, Lighthouse.
Hey, brother, how are you?
Good, how are you? Thanks. Nice to finally meet you in person.
Oh, yeah, it's nice to meet you too, brother.
Mm-hmm. Your internet is a little slow. You're a little bit laggy.
Okay.
But that's okay. I can still hear you at least. What's going on with you paranormally or spiritually?
Well, I hope that my internet connection is pretty good enough to be able to tell you something that happened to me on June the 6th, 2016. Can you hear me pretty good?
Yeah, it's better now.
Okay. On June the 6th, 2016, Brother Jeff, I had a paranormal anomaly experience, that you would like to call it. On June the 5th is whenever this all originally started. I was laying down in the bed with my girlfriend at the time. It was about 11 o'clock at night, and I was searching up random things on my phone on the internet. And I just so happened to type in, I was sitting there looking up anything as heaven on the moon, per se. And as I typed that in, my girlfriend at the time, she said that there were shadows moving around the room. And there were shadows moving around the room at this time. And that's whenever my phone had a message on it that said, that this is the Ashtar command. And he said, I am Ashtar. And he said, basically in 15 minutes, we're going to prepare for a mass evacuation, of the world of the elect, allegedly. And he said, in 15 minutes, you'll know when to come outside. You'll hear the trumpet. And surely enough, I put the phone down and thought nothing of it. And sure enough, Sure enough, 15 minutes later, there was a trumpet, like a harmonic trumpet. It wasn't like a boo 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 boo, but it was a harmonic trumpet. Came down out of the sky, playing like a wave, and before that, a helicopter had escorted this craft in. You can hear the helicopter come in overhead as this craft right here was coming down, to the ground. Now, this event right here takes place in a trailer park, and I don't know how other people didn't hear this specific sound, but obviously nobody else heard it. It was some kind of radio mechanism, sound wave weapon, I would say. But anyways, my girlfriend at the time, she said, it's the Lord, it's the Lord. You hear the trumpets and stuff like that, and people saying it's the rapture and all. Well, anyway, she goes and tries to run out the door. I go and grab her from the door and slam the door shut. The light is blaring so bright in the house when she opens up the door. The light is about blinding us. And I shut the door. We run into the bathroom. We run into the room and shut the door and put the bed in front of the door. And in the room, it was just pitch dark. And anyways, I'm trying to make this real fast for you, Brother Jeff. And anyways, after we run into the room, it's just pitch darkness. We run then from the room, we run into the bathroom right there, attached to the room right there. You know how it is on a trailer. Well, we run into the bathroom and we shut the doors and we jump inside the shower and pull the curtain over us in the shower. And I look, and she's laying on the ground, and I'm looking through the curtain, the little holes in the curtain. And we start hearing chuckling, how people describe the grays and stuff. And then we hear, after the chuckling, we hear like a reptile hum. You know what I mean? I guess you could call that, I don't know, a reptilian or so, and you can tell that their presence were inside the house, because you can feel like as if you stood in like a crowd was standing around you, pulling your, feeding off of your energy. And it's a crazy experience. Well, anyways, the trumpet, you know, soon enough stopped. You know what I mean? While we was inside of the bathroom, it stopped. You know what I mean? Then them things started talking inside the bedroom, which we were hiding inside of the bathroom. Well, anyways, you know, we said that the door was closed and all. Well, they walked right through the door, and it looked like a predator anomaly. Like you couldn't see it, but you could tell something was there. You know what I mean? As soon as it came through the door, we had the light on. So, anyways, while we're sitting inside the bathroom, I'm looking out of the curtain, and it looks like the air is moving. And I let her know. She's laying down on the floor. I let her know that something's out there. You know what I mean? Like something's in the bathroom with us. And as soon as I say that, I feel a static electricity on my back. And it feels like whenever you put like a 9-volt battery to your tongue and you get that little sensation, that's what it felt on my back. And anyways, I guess we had a time lapse during all of this. You know, we have several hours missing of time. And I guess we were there in the bathtub. I don't remember leaving the bathroom. We don't remember leaving, you know, the bathroom whatsoever. But before we knew it, an hour later, it seemed like, you know, it was already daylight. I don't know what happened. I don't know what all happened or whatever, but it seemed like daylight. And but it was daylight. It was like 9 o'clock maybe 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning whenever we decided to come out of the bathroom.
Wow.
And whenever we came out of the bathroom, we went into the room. You could tell again, like you could feel that presence of an audience around you that was feeding off of your energy. That's what it kind of felt like. And then we from the room, we took the bed in front of the door and pushed it over and walked outside of the bedroom. And inside of the kitchen, there was food sitting inside of the microwave. We would never, you know, normally leave food inside the microwave. But the microwave automatically turned on by itself. I guess they have some kind of interference with technology or something like that, these beings. Well, anyways, you know, while all that right there was going on, we decided, you know, to clean up the house. We knew something was going on. If we were to try to call to get some help, somebody would look at us like we're crazy. I mean, this, you know what I mean? This right here would just, you know, make people think you're crazy or something. But anyways, later on, you know, as we get done cleaning up, we sit down inside the same bedroom, and there's things moving around inside the closet and stuff like that. And I get another message on my phone. It's another weird, you know, I mean, there's nothing to really take pictures of because, or else I would have done took a picture or something. I was too scared to go outside, you know what I mean? And it was just, you know, very strange. But anyways, I get another message on my phone. It says, you know, he says, you know, it begins with a rose. It's a plain white screen on my phone. This happened in 2016. Like I say, the phones weren't as digitally upgraded as they are now. You know, well, at least my phone wasn't. But there was a white screen with a rose on it that had some, you know, letter and a paragraph on it that said, you know, hello. He said, I am your friend in Jesus Christ. And he said, you know, my name is Luke. And he starts quoting all these Bible scriptures out and stuff like that. And then he goes on to say, you know, like it was like as I was reading it, I couldn't quite remember all of the message, but as I was reading it, it felt like it was telling like a futuristic event kind of like type deal. Whether I was being deceived or not, I don't know. You know what I mean? By any kind of other unworldly being or energy or whatever. But they said, you know, that I would know whenever God came for me, and that I was one of the 2 witnesses, which I highly doubt, you know what I mean? Because it's, you know, that's a rather powerful message considering, you know what I mean? You know, Christianity and all that. That's a rather powerful message. But anyways, it just so happened that this happened on June the 6th, 2016, which first is last is 666. You know what I mean? So,
wow.
which I mean, yeah, that was kind of strange. But anyways, after I get done reading the message, I stand up and go outside. I feel led to go outside, and the sun was shining unusually bright that day. And I come back inside the house, and I stand inside the kitchen. I'm looking down, thinking about everything that's happened, and she's sitting there walking around the house, cleaning up, talking to me about that message that we just read from Luke. And well, anyways, anyways, I happened to look up, and there's this being standing there. It's the image of a man. It looks like a man, a human, not a man, but really a human. And it looks like it looks translucent. And I got positive vibes from this being, whether it be an angel, the Holy Spirit, or somebody, God, or whatever you want to call it. But it wasn't as powerful, but it was pretty powerful whenever I looked at it. It was like walking glass, you know what I mean, like a prism. And whenever this being passed in front of the light, it stood there, and as the light hit this being, it started sparkling colors of the rainbow. And it kept walking. It walked back there to the room where all of this took place. And I also go back to the room too, but I couldn't see the being anywhere in sight. So I go and sit down on the floor inside of the bathroom where all of this took place. And I see this in this being, and this coin-like structure. The translucent coin structure was above my head several inches, and it was circular and it was clear, but you can tell that predator type little, translucent prism looking thing, descended down upon my forehead right here and rolled like a coin does on the ground like this. You know how a coin rolls on the ground? And it entered my head. And once it entered my head, I didn't feel no kind of sensation or anything like that. I started, what I could feel was later on, like I guess you could say there's spiritual gifts, kind of like. Mm-hmm. But anyways, it's like I say, after all that happened, after that happened right there, after I felt this thing go into my forehead, I stood up and went outside. I felt this voice again come into my head, tell me to go outside. And whenever I went outside, I looked up at the sun, and I looked back down here to the earth, and each individual thing was a different color. It was every tree was a different color. Every house was a different color, and it looked like the road was turning into dirt. I mean, it was very strange. We're energy beings anyway, so right. This is relatively logical. You know what I mean? But like I say, I ain't pushing. Yeah, I'm sorry for taking up too much time. I ain't pushing. I just want to say that I'm not pushing anything on your audience or anything like that of anything that I personally believe or anything, because I very much respect you, Jeff. But I thank you very much for allowing me to tell my story.
I haven't said anything, but I appreciate you sharing your story and it sounds like you had an amazing experience. You may want to write it all down because you had a lot of stuff going on, There's a lot, there's a lot, and there's probably a lot more there if you wrote it down that, we are trying to, we're quickly trying to say it in 10 minutes, but you might have a really interesting little book there or something.
Oh yes, I really do. But to be honest with you, Jeff, I really don't really have the money or anything like that to publish a book. But I would like to write everything out that happened. I was told in that second message that happened on my phone that said, hello, my name is Luke. I'm your friend in Jesus Christ. Mm-hmm. I personally don't want people to think that I'm trying to push anything on them by telling them the story right here. But you know what I mean. But there's a lot more that has happened, especially spiritually speaking, with me in this physical world. It was like a living NDE that I've been living in.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
But
I was going to say, yeah, it sounds like it. I have to run to the next person, but what you can do is you can always type it out in your computer and keep it as you write it. And then you can try it. You can look into self-publishing and maybe you can do it for free.
Oh, yes. Thank you very much, Brother Jeff.
All right. Thank you so much for coming and sharing with us. Also, I see you all the time in your comments on the videos. So thank you so much for watching them. You take care, Lighthouse.
Oh, yes. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, brother. Bye-bye.
Yes, sir.
All right. So he made it. Let's go to the next person. I think it's Nancy Lee has been there for a while. And then we'll go to the Seventh Samurai. And we're up to 200 people. Awesome. I hope we can beat. I think the best time that we ever had was when I looked over at the chat, it was like 283. So I'm hoping that we can beat that today. And my dear wife is here. And that's so if you see somebody chatting from JeffMara, that's my wife. and not me, obviously. For those of you who were here last week, you probably already figured that out. But for the new people, that's what's going on. And since you guys are here, you are my closest friends. Some of you may not even know this. Mara is my wife. Mara is not my last name. She is a very important unseen part of this podcast. And we're waiting for Nancy. What's going on with Nancy's system here? Hopefully she'll be able to get in. Sometimes it takes people a little while. All right, so while we're waiting for her to get in, I have an NDE that I'm planning on posting tomorrow, and this woman is from Ireland. I know you guys like non-US based NDEs, and I get people asking me from time to time, can you get someone besides people from the US? So tomorrow's will be from Ireland, and I think she's my very first guest from Ireland. And I wish this could be like the radio, or you could just immediately pop people in and out. But she seems to have trouble. We'll wait a few more minutes, and then if it doesn't work, I'll have to move on to the next people. And we'll look. What is your full name? Jeff and Mara is my nickname. Guess, can you say hi tonight? Oh, I guess she's chatting with people. All right, Nancy, I'm going to move to the next person. See if you can try to get back in. You can get right back in line. Maybe something's going on with your system. But I'm going to go to the next person. It's nothing personal. I just want to keep the show going. And we'll go to Seventh Samurai. Pretty name. Hopefully, I have a feeling I might know who this is. I'll wait till the samurai joins. I have, I think, a good guess. We'll see right here. No, I didn't. I was expecting maybe someone else. Seventh Samurai, how are you? Oh, he's still connecting his audio. Can't hear you yet.
There, how about now?
There you are. All right, welcome.
Hello.
You've been before, yes or no?
Yes. So last time I joined, it had my name as Sean.
Okay,
but on YouTube, I'm Seventh Samurai 72.
Maybe that's, I know I recognize the name, and then I recognize you looked familiar when I saw you. So I was trying to put two to two together. So what's going on with you today?
Just enjoying beautiful Colorado. It's always really nice out here. Mm-hmm. And I just want to extend my gratitude to you for giving a forum for us to all meet. I've made, I'd say, quite a few friends on here, and
awesome.
There's just a lot of good spiritual energy coming through this. It's great.
That's great. Have you joined the Discord?
Yeah. Yes, I chat on there every day.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, really enjoy it.
For those of you guys that don't know, Discord is a place that I set up for everybody where they can either go chat by on the computer, or you can actually enter a chat room and talk to each other. So I wanted to help create this community better. Get it
very
going
nice.
more. So what's going on with you, Sean? Anything new?
Gosh, every day is just full of really cool experiences, but I thought I'd share another one of my out-of-body experiences with you. So back in the 90s, my wife and I had gotten a puppy, a little brown Labrador, and we were getting its vaccinations for parvo. And unfortunately, it came down with parvo from that, and it died like within the week after getting the vaccination.
Oh.
So one day, just shortly after that, I had gone up to my room and was laying on my bed to go to sleep. And I started having this dream, and everything was black, but my puppy was there. And I was kind of shocked, so I started petting it. And then I realized, like, I shouldn't be able to pet my puppy. My puppy's passed. And it's almost like my puppy at that moment noticed, like, I was in a place that I wasn't supposed to be either. And it started to growl at me. And at that moment, there was like an electrical buzzing sound. And I immediately woke up. And of course, I was like, wow, I realized like somehow I had managed to cross over the veil and meet with my puppy, which was relieving because, of course, highlighted for me that even pets go beyond to the other side. So it was a really good experience. And of course, the experiences I've had that have been like out of body, I don't ever know what triggers them. I'm not able to do anything to make them happen. I don't sit down and meditate. They just happen randomly.
That's awesome that you shared that with us today, because people from time to time will ask me if I can get somebody on the show that can talk about pets in the afterlife. So one, that's a nice confirmation. And two, it's nice because you're not the only person that I've heard that has some kind of electrical buzzing sensation or sound when they're having their OBE. And
yes, I've heard that as well. And so it was an affirmation to me as well that it wasn't just a dream, that there was more going on. Of course, I had that years afterwards where I'd come across somebody who had talked about when they were out of the body, that sort of electrical buzz that they got when they were returning. So yeah, it's a wonderful time, the way that the internet is giving us so much information to affirm what we're having as individuals, because I think humanity's been having experiences for such a long time, but it's been such an individuated thing. Like there was really no way to share it, and you wouldn't really think to share these things because they seem so abnormal. But now that we have the internet, we're able to see that like there's definitely much more to us than we understand.
Yeah, and you're exactly right. And it's funny you say that, because I feel like I'm older than you, but I remember the time when there was no internet. You've probably been around too. And people who had NDEs back then, there was nothing. I mean, you probably either had to go to some kind of metaphysical bookstore or something to try to even learn anything about that, because there was just no information. I mean, it wouldn't be in an encyclopedia. So it's pretty amazing, right?
And there was a lot of shunning almost. If you talked about things like that, people really thought you were weird, and it was very obvious that they thought you were weird. I mean, I remember even back in like the 80s when you talk to people who were doing yoga and you thought, well, that's really, what are you doing yoga for? That's such a weird thing, And now it's very mainstream, which I think is wonderful, because clearly yoga is a beautiful practice for helping the mind and the body and the spirit. So we've come a long ways. And that's what 72 is for. I was born in 1972. So we're probably similar in generation.
Yes, I agree. All right, Sean. Well, thank you so much for sharing your experience. I hope you come back, and I appreciate you, brother.
Thank you. I appreciate you as well.
All right. I'll see you next time. All right. Don't report. Now, I wonder if Nancy is Nancy Lee that we tried to have last time. It may or may not. I'm just going to try Janet and Tanya. Please don't be angry or feel like I'm getting you out of turn. I'm just trying to see if this is Nancy. Hello, Nancy.
Hey, how are you?
Are you Nancy Lee, the same person? All right, good. Then I was able to. I was right. I took a guess on that. So where are you from today? Or where are you at today?
I'm from North Carolina.
Oh, nice. What part?
The middle, Piedmont area where High Point, Greensboro, Winston-Salem is.
Okay. My wife has never been there, but I keep telling my wife about the western part and the Cherokee area. It's so beautiful and amazing. I'm like, maybe it would be a place to have a summer house or something, or move there. It's just, I don't know. For me, the mountains there, I'm somehow just mesmerized by the mountains.
Yeah. I went to school in the mountains, and we go up there often, especially in the fall with the leaves changing colors. It's definitely convinced her to go.
And it's probably cool up there because I'm here in Texas, and to tell you the honest, today I was out shopping with my wife, and after we left the grocery store, my temperature gauge to tell me what it was outside today was 102. So it was still hot.
Yeah, this is the time of year where it's getting cool already.
Yes. All right. Well, what's going on with you paranormally or supernaturally?
Well, it's not exactly me, but I've been listening to your podcast for a couple months now. I've listened to hundreds of episodes.
Wow. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you so much. I have like a 45-minute drive to work every day. And so I get to listen to one whole podcast almost every morning. Um, but at the beginning, it reminded me that my grandfather passed away when the month I turned 7. And I had remembered that he had had a near death experience, but my family never really talked about it that much. And I asked my mom about it, and I did remember that many years ago, like maybe 20 years ago, there was some discussion about it, and that he had recorded a cassette tape. And so I asked her for it, and I listened to it a few weeks ago so that I could relay some things about it to your audience, because this happened, I think, in 1976.
Wow.
And I'm looking, I did have the document up. Let's see.
That's
Well,
nice that he
it was,
recorded it back then.
yes, it was. Well, my mom and dad took care of him. Unfortunately, he had cancer, and in his last days, he was in our home. But this near-death experience actually happened in November, and he did not come into our home until later, like he passed away in March. So there's just a lot of things that I wanted to share that are similar to a lot of your audience members who have had near-death experiences. He saw Christ, and towards the end of the recording, it's funny to me because he said, everybody keeps asking me, what did Jesus look like? And I can't even tell you. He said, because that was the last thing I was thinking of, and I can't really say. But when he went there, there were 7 or 8 people there with him who were all still living at the time and related to him and to us. And so at the beginning of the recording, he names 8 specific people. But towards the middle of the recording, he leaves out one of those people. And I'm not sure if that was just an error, but it reminded me a lot of your audience members who say that they have a soul group, and it was 7 people. And he said exactly who the people were, relatives that I know. And all of them were still alive at the time. So that was just very interesting. And again, I don't know if this was inadvertent or not, but the person that he left out the second time he relayed who all the people were was actually a relative that passed away way early in their life. After him, but still way early as a very young person. I'm trying to, let me pull up the document. I'm going to try to say what he said he thought the main message was.
Well, while you're looking for that, I think it's amazing how people will see people on the other side that are still alive. Like somehow
I know.
Communicating with their higher selves or something.
I know. And this idea, I mean, I am pondering a lot of things that all of your guests say, and it's a lot to take in, but it's extremely interesting, and it's hard. It's really undeniable, the experiences of everyone and how similar they are, or how much synchronicity there is between them. So it's hard to think that they're not valid.
Right.
It's hard to think that there's not a collective unconscious somehow. I'm looking at the document. I do also remember one of the things he talked about was the unity of all people, and there was something in there about he didn't use the word racism because that word really wasn't in vogue then. It wasn't really being used, but that's what he was referring to, a time where there wouldn't be such division in such matters. Here's a sentence. It says, there will be a slight pause between the time we leave this life and the time we take up residence with the kindreds.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I gather this to mean my mother, father, grandparents, and so forth, until the good Lord says to the faithful, it's time to leave off with childish things and be at the building of the new kingdom. Oh, here, I forgot. He also said the Lord had a notebook.
I wonder if that was like the Akashic records.
I don't know. It says the good Lord will reach behind him and pick up a notebook from an array of hundreds he has prepared, since it had become apparent that the original plan for the first kingdom became a discouragement to him.
And there being hundreds of books makes sense to me.
Yeah. And he'll say
that it seems like through your grandfather's experience, it was more of a religious experience.
Yes, which was interesting to me too, because again, I didn't have a lot of time with that set of grandparents because he passed away when I was 7 and his wife, my grandma, passed away when I was 10. But they had I think they had gone to church, but they weren't like going every Sunday. He had a military career and then he was in civil service, and they moved a lot, and they definitely considered themselves Christians, but they didn't seem like hardcore Christians. And when they retired, they built a house near a lake in North Carolina, and they didn't go to church at all. And yeah, they just, and I do know that he held to the belief that he didn't need to be in a church to commune with God or the Lord or Jesus. I know that he had that belief and that he didn't think he needed to go to church. Okay, it says, some who have heard this testimony have asked me some very difficult questions. Number 1, what was his complexion? The shock of finding myself in the actual presence of Christ was such as to erase such information from my memory. Assumptive recollection left nothing reliable for me to report. Number 2, how big was he? Again, the complete surprise of finding myself in the presence of the Lord eclipsed all of this. I know that I saw my Lord and believe that he considers me to be one of his true and faithful servants. This is my testimony. His name was John Myers. Oh, this was in 1974.
That's cool. That's it's kind of like a great family heirloom that I hope you keep and pass it down.
That is why I asked my mom for the tape so I could type it up and put it with my genealogical records that I want to leave for my kids and stuff like that. So yeah.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
All right, Nancy.
Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you so much for sharing with me and with us and watching the videos. I really appreciate you, and you take care of yourself.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, so Tanya has been here for a while. I want to get her in, and so she won't have to keep waiting. We're at 285. All right. For me, that's the most people that's ever been here, because I think I mentioned earlier the most I've ever looked over and seen was 283. So awesome. Thank you guys so much for being here with me. And asked to start video, and we'll see if we can get her started. She's halfway here. It looks like her voice is here. Oh, there she is.
Hi.
Whoa, that's a really cool background.
Yeah, it reminds me of orcs.
Yeah, yours is way cooler than mine. I need to upgrade. Is that on Zoom, or where did you get that background?
So you use PowerPoint.
Oh, PowerPoint.
The PowerPoint, like live movement and stuff, and then you can add it to Zoom as a background.
It looks great. Now, were you here last week?
Last week I missed it because I was doing homework, but the week before.
Are you from Panama?
Yes.
See, I remember you. Well, thanks for coming back, Tanya.
Yes, I follow you guys, and I watch your show every weekend.
Thank you.
Every day.
Thank you very much. Have you joined the Discord group?
I have.
Oh, great.
I have.
Awesome. So what's going on with you this week? You got anything paranormally happening?
Yes, I'm going to share with you guys another paranormal event that happened to me, and I'm going to keep it in the Texas house, the San Antonio house, where I was when I was stationed over there.
Did you know that I'm in San Antonio?
Yes, you told me that when I was talking, and I didn't hear you at the time. I'm sorry, but that's okay. I think that's a pretty cool.
So you were at Lackland, huh?
I'm sorry?
Were you at Lackland Air Force Base?
The Randolph Air Force Base.
You lived in Universal City?
We were in Cibolo.
Cibolo, yeah. I used to live out by there in Selma.
Yeah. That's where I was.
I'm going to stop interrupting you. Go on, tell us your story.
So, when we moved from California to San Antonio, I wanted a new house because we were dealing with so many things in California that I was like, let me just move to a new house, perhaps. If nobody had lived there, all this paranormal stuff is going to stop. But that wasn't the case. When I moved to San Antonio, at the house in San Antonio, the paranormal stuff continued. This one other incident that I encountered there was, again, my mom at that moment went back to Panama to visit. And again, I was there by myself and my two sons. So, but that day, my two sons, they were in a school because it was like a school day, and then I was at work. But I had to take like a very, very important phone call that I didn't want to receive in the middle of my office with all my coworkers listening and around me. So I thought, let me just drive home so that I can pick up this phone call. So I went home in the middle of the day. It was like lunchtime, like noon. And when I drove into my garage and I closed the garage door behind me, I was sitting in the car for a few moments or minutes, like trying to think about like that phone call that I was going to receive. And when I look inside in my garage, I kind of like saw like a shadow move from like one side to the other. And that startled me because I was like, how am I seeing a shadow in the garage when like there's no light in here? But the shadow was darker than the dark. So I was able to see it. So anyhow, that made me like want to like get out of my car and go into the house. So I got out of my car and I went into the house, and I received the phone call and I whatever. And then when I hang up the phone call, I was sitting in the middle of my living room and just thinking about the phone call, just thinking about the conversation that I had and stuff. And when I'm sitting there, I hear, my house was a 2-story house. So I hear like a thump, like something like jump from the bed down into the floor. And then after that, I hear like something is falling down the stairs. And then another boom, boom on the floor. Mm-hmm. So now at this point, I'm expecting to see something or somebody at the bottom of the stairs. But I know that it's not my kids because they are in a school. And I know it's not my mom because she's in Panama. So I waited there for a few moments, and then I got up because I realized, like, okay, there is nothing, like there is nobody else but me in this house right now. But yet I'm hearing and seeing all these things. So what I said was, look, I'm gonna take my keys and I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna pass through this like the hallway that was in between like the garage car door in the living room. And I said, I'm gonna pass through here and I don't want to see you. I don't want to see you.
You were saying this out loud?
Yes. So I said, just let me leave. I don't want to see you. And so I took my keys and I walked by like really slowly, and I turned my head up to the stairs because I was like, I'm expecting to see something, maybe like something is here. And I look over and thank God it didn't let me see it. Like whatever it was that make all those noises and the shadow that I saw in the garage prior to going inside the house. So I just like took off. I got into the garage, I turned on the car, whatever, and I left and I went to work. And so yeah, I have experiences like that in that house. Another thing that I can remember from that house is like one time I was laying in my bed and my mom is in her bedroom and the kids are in their bedroom, and it was about like 7 or something p.m. like everybody was still awake and doing their own thing. So I'm laying in my bed and I hear this sound out of the nowhere, just from the air. It came out this sound like woof, like when you want to like scare somebody and you go like woof, like that. It was like that, like right from the wall to my, like one side from the wall, like I heard this thing. So I jumped out of my bed and I ran to my mom's bedroom and I told her like, Mom, I just heard a noise that came out of the nowhere. And it was things like that, seeing orbs, listening to sounds out of nowhere, and things like that in that house.
Well, the first one sounded like you saw a shadow being at the, or they call a shadow person, the first one. I've never quite heard of them, interacting with the physical, and making all that noise before. And then the second one, I don't know. Do you think it's possible that you somehow have opened up the veil and you can communicate with beings on the other side?
I do believe so, because I have stories like from every single house that I have lived, and including like growing up in Panama. So it had been always this kind of things going on. And I think it's not only me. I think it goes back in generations, because my mom, she also had her own things that happened to her, including in that house in Texas too. Like one time she told me, and this is all before she passed away, she told me in that house in Texas, she was laying in bed and she had put some kind of like ointment or something on her eyes because her she suffered from like dry eyes. So the doctor had prescribed some kind of like ointments or something that she had to put in her eyes at nighttime for the dry eye. So she said she was laying in there after she put the stuff on her eye, and that she could see that there was somebody like standing beside her bed. And she was thinking that it probably was me or something, but the shadow, the person or whatever, the silhouette of the that she kept seeing did not interact with her, like did not tell her anything or like talk to her or something, but she kept on trying to ask if it was me, but it wasn't me. She just saw this silhouette of this thing like beside her bed and right there in Texas, in that same house.
Oh, wow. Maybe she saw a shadow being too. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe she saw the same shadow person that I saw in the garage.
Yeah. All right, Tanya. Well, thanks for coming and sharing with us today. I really appreciate you. Thank you for watching, and have a great rest of your weekend.
You too. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, don't report. And I think Janet is next. So let's go to Janet here and admit her. And see what's going on with Janet.
Have a great rest of your weekend.
All right, I hear her. I don't see her yet. One thing is you may need to, well, you have Zoom on, so you're with me in Zoom, but you might want
I've got my earrings. Where's my video?
You may want to turn the YouTube down so I won't be echoing.
Okay. Host has asked you to start your video. Okay.
Yeah. There we are. Hello, Janet. How are you?
Hi. Doing well. How are you?
Great. Nice to see you again.
Yeah.
What's going on with you this weekend?
Not much.
Not much.
Doing a little. Probably I'll do a little pottery.
All right.
I'm a potter.
Nice. Next time you have to show us some.
Yeah. Okay. So I wanted to tell you from last time of my shared death experience with my dad, and it's really precious to me. And I actually woke up. It's so weird. I had problems sleeping last night because I ate some food anyway that I shouldn't have. So I was up from about 4 to 5:30 or so, and then I finally went back to sleep. And I had this dream that so clear of talking. It was my sisters and I were around. We were talking, and Dad was there, and he was talking. I woke up sobbing out loud this morning, and I haven't ever done that since.
Wow.
I just woke up. My husband was gone hunting, and he wasn't around. Anyway, okay. So my dad, and my mom is still alive, and she is almost 94. And Dad this year was 95. And we moved them. So by weird happenstance, 2 of my sisters ended up here, and my brother in Utah, but he lives in southern Utah, in south of Salt Lake, north of Provo. And I ended up here with my husband, following children. It's really weird. Anyway, we ended up here, and we lived for a while south of Provo, up on the hill in a beautiful place called Elk Ridge. And every time I would come up here to American Fork to visit Dad and Mom, and we had moved them here, and they've been here now. It's been about 9 years, 8.5, 9 years. And it's about 30 miles. And every time I would come and visit, and 2 of my sisters live just a few blocks, 2 or 3 blocks this way and 2 or 3 blocks the other way. And I would say to Dad, because we were sure he was going to go first, because he's always had worse health than Mom. I said, so Dad, when you go, if you should happen to go, come by on your way out, but don't scare me. Try not to scare me, but just give me a thumbs up that everything's okay. So I used to say that for 7, 8 years. Then in 2020, the year, So, the whole virus thing is a backdrop to what our life was really like. The rest of the stuff is like, yeah. It's kind of it's still kind of backdrop, not really present in our lives. In January 8th, Dad fell, broke his pubic bone, and he ended up in a care facility, rehab facility. And Dad has had some dementia, and he was kind of feeble, and he was unhappy, just cranky old unhappy guy. And usually he's just a really happy guy. So because he was so cranky and hard to deal with, and he had been increasingly so, and nobody had been staying at the house. Mom and Dad had been able to handle that. So clear till he was 93, Mom's 91. They were living together here at the house. And so after he fell, we knew we were going to have to bring him home, and it was going to be hard. And so we brought him home, and one of my sisters and I started taking care of him. She ended up with somebody else. Going back to school, to work. And my husband and I let go of the house that we were in renting, and we moved in here. So, and I became Mom and Dad's primary caretaker from a year ago, August. And I would put Dad to bed every night, and it was hard. It's really, really hard. And give him a kiss on his forehead, and he would kiss me on the cheek. And I would tell him, so if you need to go tonight, go ahead and come wake me up. If I don't know, if you're just going to silently slip out, tell him. And he said, okay, sweetheart. Anyway. And it was such a hard time. I kept asking in my meditations and prayers, how long is this going to last? How long is this going to last? And he was on hospice, and we did have some help. I had some help. And the answer kept coming back. Now. How long is this going to last? Now. Just in other words, get present. I went through the winter. And then I changed my questions to how long, when are they going to pass? And I came to understand in his 96th year, near his mother's birthday. And I thought, oh, it's going to take so long. And then in her 95th year, near her birthday. So those were and I thought, well, okay, whatever. But that's what I kind of came to understand. Wasn't going to take it to the bank, but that gave me a little comfort, because I realized this was in the fall when I was asking this, that on his next birthday in February, which was 2021, it was his 95th birthday, which means he started his 96th year. And I thought, and Grandma's birthday is in March 21st. We'll see. This will be interesting. So he fell on March 16th and really messed himself up. And then he was in such a degraded state that when you start having painkillers, then you don't eat and you don't drink, and then pretty soon you just pass away. It took him 6 days to die. And it was a long, hard 6 days, and I didn't sleep much. And my sister and her husband were watching him. Mom had taken a nap, and I was downstairs taking a nap. So this is right before he's passed. And I lay down, and immediately I'm standing behind a picnic table at a picnic and kind of a party thing. It's really bright, but green grass. And there's my aunt, Dad's sister. She's young. She passed in October. And there's Dad. And he's sitting with his foot. She's fully underneath with her feet underneath the picnic table. He's sitting with his heel on the bench. And they're both about 25 years old. And they're laughing and talking. And I knew, I could sense there were other people over here, Grandma and Grandpa, their parents, and other people. And they were all laughing and having a party. And I heard thump, 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 thump. And my husband coming running down the stairs saying, he's going. And I stood up and said, I was at a party. And I ran up the stairs, and Mom was there with him, and my sister, and they were feeling his, pulse, first pulse. So I felt his pulse, and I reached to touch his carotid here. And the second I touched his carotid, this energy just went up my arm, whoo, through me, right out through here, just went whoo, like this. And it pushed me back. And I went, did you feel that? Did you feel that? And everyone else is like crying and looking at him. And I'm like, I'm having this thing. I'm going, oh my gosh. And I just kind of kept arching, going, oh my gosh, did you feel that? Did you feel that? And it was like ecstatic joy and bright, bright white light and sparkling gold and children laughing and birds chirping and water running down a brook. It was like all of and music in an orchestra and people singing. It was like all of that together with ecstatic joy. And it was so shocking. I mean, literally just went whoosh and pushed me back. And I realized that he fulfilled his promise that he would come through me and come see me on his way out. And he did. And so here's the thing. Later, I was reading in some of his journals and things. And he didn't keep a lot of journals. He mostly just wrote poems and goofy stories and things. And he said, I keep having a reoccurring dream. And in the dream, I wake up and I'm leaning against a tree and there's a field. And across the field, there's some people and they're having a party around a picnic table. And so I go over there and I realize the party's for me. And he had written that 15 or 20 years earlier. Wow. So there's the validation. And I never had read that until afterwards. And it was just really amazing.
Well, that's an amazing experience. And thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah, it was grace.
There's almost no words I can add to that. I mean, it was truly amazing.
Yeah, it just went right through, right here, below my clavicle. I wonder what's kind of energy. Why do you go through there? Except for that, later I thought, I've had a similar feeling of energetic feeling. And I was at a Joe Dispenza meditation retreat, one of his week-longs in Cancun.
How was it?
Amazing. This was in December of 2018. So it was like day 3 or 4. So I was kind of into the groove, and it's always a little hard the first couple of days. Am I doing it right? You know, even though I had done his intensive things that you do online and watch him. So it's 1,200 people, a lot of people to be laying down doing meditations in this huge big ballroom. And I am up against, so it's rectangular, and I'm with my feet up on a chair laying down so my back didn't hurt, and up against the wall. So my head is to the most of the room. And has the stage up there, and it's this meditation. It's only about an hour and a half long. And to people who don't meditate, an hour and a half long meditation. Yeah. So you get used to it. Just build up to it. 5 minutes. Start with 5 minutes. And about almost to the end, someone, because you get so blissed out and so happy in these, you're just getting into this bliss state, and you're in maybe theta, especially way past alpha, maybe into theta, maybe even a little in gamma, who knows. Someone starts laughing, and then somebody else laughs, and then somebody else laughs. And this was way at the other end of the rectangle. So way over here. And it's laugh, 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 laugh. And then it started rolling in waves of laughter. People laugh. And Joe doesn't like this when this happens. Later on, he said, okay, stop, because he would lose control of the whole thing. And so I'm laying with my head towards that wave, and I'm in a completely open theta state. And shock or something. I am so open, and it comes, and it felt orange and gold this time. Same thing, birds chirping, children laughing, everyone. I mean, it was like, same thing. And it just, and it, the same kind of thing. And I just sobbed, and I couldn't stop sobbing, and I could hardly come out of that meditation. I mean, for another half an hour, I was so in it, but it was that same quality of energy that just rushed through me with this joyful laughter. It was joy. And I thought, so that's who we really are, is that glorious joy. And to know that he had been hurting and so miserable, and for him to leave and for me to experience it was just amazing.
Yeah.
My family thinks I'm a little crazy, but they saw me react. I wasn't like and then I told them the experience, and I told it at the funeral. So, yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. I have to run to the next person, but
absolutely.
You have a great rest of your weekend, and I wish you
the
bet. Best.
All right. Thanks, Jeff.
Bye-bye.
Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. That was pretty intense, and I'm sure it was obviously super intense for her. All right, Galaxy AE10. Let's see who Galaxy AE10 is. It sounds familiar, but I guess all kinds of people can have a Galaxy phone, so it may not be familiar. And I saw we're over 300. Awesome. We've got our highest ever today. So thank you guys so much for being here with me today. I really appreciate you. And we will see who this is. Galaxy AE10. Who is this today? I don't have your mic on yet. Let me see. I can tell you it shows that your microphone's not on. Hello. You have no mic. Your Zoom says your mic is not. It's not when your Zoom is working. You have a little microphone. It's hard for me to put it up there because it does that. But you can see mine working. All right, let's see what's going on here on the chat while I'm waiting to see if he can get his mic working. It looks like he's trying to plug it in. Can I say? Sometimes I think you can say ask to start mic. No, but I don't have that. I still don't have your... Oh, it's connecting. We're almost there.
Okay, I can hear you. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. You made it.
Hi. First, I just want to thank you for what you do and who you are.
Thank you.
You help a lot of people feel comfortable with the things that have happened. My name is Warren.
Oh, I was going to say, who are you and where are you from?
My name is Warren. I'm from Ohio.
Great.
And my story is very short, but it's powerful. I lost both of my parents to cancer at a young age, and I'm the only child. And I fell into drugs, and I've been sober for 2 years now, but I'm a 2-time suicide survivor. And when my parents died, after the second time I tried to kill myself, I went to a park where I took my daughter and we play all the time. And I was sitting at a park bench and there was nobody there. And I was thinking about hurting myself again. And when I was younger, I had a very strong relationship with God. We were very close, but when I lost my parents, I was angry and I turned my back on God. And so I was sitting, at the park thinking about hurting myself again. And a man, he came, he had holes in his pants and holes in his shirt and holes in his shoes. And he sat down next to me and he said, "Hey, Warren." And I was like, "Hi." And he said, "Why did you do that?" And I started to cry. And I said, "I don't know." And he put his hand on my hand. And when he did, my entire body was on fire with kindness and the most amazing feeling that you could ever explain. Like, I was in kind of a trance. Like, when he put his hand, like I couldn't speak, I couldn't think. All I could do was feel the most amazing and comfortable feeling that a human being could possibly, feel. And he wasn't like your typical angel looking. I mean, like, he was normal except for his complexion was perfect, his hair was perfect, and his eyes just had the most amazing, like the kind of eyes you just can't take your eyes off of, And he only had his hand on my hand for maybe, I don't know, a minute, but it seemed like an hour. And before he put his hand on my hand, I was feeling horrible. I mean, I was just, I was lost. And it just went through my body like my body was on fire, but it was awesome. And like, I can't even explain it to you. But once he took his hand off my hand, I felt the exact, I was depressed again, And before he got up, he said that you are very loved and that you are important and that I cannot do that again. And I shook my head and he hugged me and he got up and walked behind me. And like, when he did that, I was like, oh, I have so many questions. I'm like, wait. And then I turn around and he's gone. And, that's my angel story. He saved my life. And how I tried to kill myself, I mean, us humans, we think that we're in control. And we are to a certain extent. But everybody has a purpose in this world, especially you, like what you're doing, it's a purpose. It's like a stone in the lake, you drop that stone and it reaches out, and you don't see that kind of stuff, like everybody, we speak the words, we treat people a certain type of way, and we don't really understand or see how that affects everything, a week, a year, 20 years on the road. But that's my angel story. And
do you think it was your guardian angel or just some random angel that happened to be looking after you? I guess random's not the right word, but
yeah,
I think you know what I mean.
I kind of feel like he could have been my guardian angel because, like, in an awkward type of way, I felt like I knew him. Like I felt like I had spoke with him before, like he knew me. And like, it was weird because, like, I mean, I'm a nice guy, but I normally just don't have a guy sit down beside me and it's so comfortable, like when he sat down beside me, it was like an instant connection, and what makes me happy about it, and I kind of laugh a lot, is the way he looked. Everybody imagines an angel that's dressed real nice, and has wings. I mean, he looked like a homeless man. And like, I can't even describe to you. I don't know what he did to me, but I truly believe that, he showed me what it's like for a split second to actually understand how God loves us. And the fact that I'm alive, I had to have been saved, because, was a nurse, and I know all types of drugs and how much it takes, you know, to get the job done. And I was lost. I was empty, and I thought that I did it enough to get the job done, but yet here I am, you know, and I don't have any like issues, you know.
Right. You know, it sounds like to me he didn't want to draw attention to himself, so he just made himself look like he would fit in.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So thank you so
and
much.
Like,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's like, you know, when you think about it, you know, I believe in Christ, you know, and you know he wasn't hanging out, you know, at the country club, you know. He was hanging out with the people who, you know, who needed it the most. Mm-hmm. Thank you again for what you do, and I really appreciate you.
Thank you for sharing your story with us, and I think from hearing your story, you've helped somebody else tonight. They're going to hear your story and you've helped them. Just kind of like you say, the ripples that kind of keep going are going through you as well.
Absolutely. It's a story about hope, you know, and truly what I got out of it is we're never alone. Like even in the worst times where we feel like we're alone, we're never alone.
Right.
And I feel like when we need God the most, you know, he's as close as he ever is going to be.
Yeah. All right, bud. Well, I'm going to run to the next person. Thanks again for sharing with us. I really appreciate you, and I wish you the best and have a great rest of your weekend.
Take care, and God bless.
Thank you. God bless you. Bye-bye. All right, let's get going to the next person. Don't report. Edward's iPad has been there for a while. Let's see who Edward's iPad is. I'm guessing it's Edward, but it may not be. It could be Edward, could be his son or his brother or sister, or and I'm saying his, but it could be hers. We'll find out who Edward is. Ask to start video. Hello, it's Eugene. All right. Welcome, Eugene. Jeff. I was saying maybe it's Edward, but it's not Edward. Is Edward your son?
He could be.
He could be.
Yes. Yeah, he is.
He is. For those of you who haven't seen Eugene has been a guest. We did a double series with him on his NDE story. And I don't know what number that is. Do you remember, you know what podcast number you were?
270, around there.
I think it's less than that, because what I just posted today, I think, was 277, or yesterday
okay,
was
240s then.
240s.
It was in July 4th.
July 4th, all right. So yes, again, this is Eugene Braxton. He's come back. It's nice to see you again, Eugene. What's been going on?
It's good seeing you, Jeff, yes. Mm-hmm. And I've been watching your shows. They're good.
Thank you.
In fact, all the last callers are really good. The comments are good. Mm-hmm. The way you listen is super perfect. And it makes for a really good show. You know, you get a lot of good information, especially when you hear it from the normal people themselves.
Yeah. Have you joined the Discord group?
I haven't. I heard you talking about it tonight. I haven't.
Yeah, Discord is free. You go to discord.com and it's free. I guess you just you can create a profile, and then I have a link in there. I need to update it tomorrow every 7 days. But once you sign up, you can go to our Discord and you can go there. There's different rooms. You can go into a room where you can just chat with each other, like by text, and post pictures or whatever you're talking about. There's an actual room in there where you can go and have a voice chat, and I don't know how many people hold, 50, 100, who knows. And then I created one for someone else that wanted to post music and art. So for you and everybody listening, I created this partly because I wanted to create a community for people, and I think it's working because there's a lot of like-minded people that come to watch, and you're meeting other like-minded people. So you're making new friends, which I think is great.
Yeah, I mean, the audience is perfect, and you're perfect too. It's a good blend of both. In fact, later, before I hang up, I have a psychic test for you, just like 6 or 7 easy yes or no questions.
Oh yeah, that'll be good
to test your psychic capacity.
Yeah, I like that. So what's going on with you spiritually, paranormally, supernaturally?
Yeah, it's well, there's a full moon tonight. I always watch. It's always good to watch the heavens, watch the skies.
Yeah. At
night or day. And there's a lot of stuff happening up there if you just look around, just for a half hour, sitting on a bench or something. You'll see some things happen. But so I've just been watching and listening and kind of resting from the interviews I did this summer, but taking care of the health. But I was listening to the callers, and I was listening to the experiences, and I was thinking of the importance of a firm foundation where you can have the experiences increase and in clarity and memory and consciousness. And with the breathings will lead to dreams. And by now, since I last came on your show, anyone who's been doing those breathings will soon be into the dream phase. And once you get to dream phase, that'll naturally link to the out of body. And when you have the out of body, start having out of bodies, then you'll begin to have psychic experiences in the daytime and during your dream life. And that'll prepare you for those other higher experiences, because it's all about the knowledge of higher worlds, what we're doing, what we're learning about. We're all kind of students. It's a super good field to study. And there'll be some heavy achievements this century in this field of study.
Yeah, I think so. I think we're on some type of an ascension, as people are talking about.
Yes, yeah. And the majority of people are acting and want to be in alignment with that, no matter what any leaders say.
Right.
We have the final decision overall.
Right. I agree.
So, I can give you the psychic test, yeah?
Yeah, that would be great. By the way, I wanted to mention something before you go into that. I like how you said you need to look up at the sky. And I used to do that as a kid, and I don't do it as much anymore. And now I live in a place where there's, in the city, there's so much city light that it's city light pollution, some people call it. It's hard to really see up there. But I don't know if you saw my video, I don't know, 10 or 20 back. I think his name was Doug Ald, but he has a night vision rig set up, like night vision binoculars, and he hooks it up to an iPad or something, and he called it like night fishing, and he just aims his night vision binoculars into the sky, and I guess looks at it on the screen and looks for UFOs and stuff.
Yeah, he probably sees triple what you would see with your normal eyes. There's a lot of stuff happening out there, just flitting and floating about. And there's as much activity in the inner worlds as there is in our outer, higher celestial worlds.
All right, give us that psychic test.
Okay. These are easy yes or no questions. Are you right-handed or left-handed?
I'm left-handed.
Okay. Have you ever been half awake, half asleep, and was completely paralyzed and couldn't move?
I have not.
Okay. Have you ever been walking, especially as a kid, heard someone call your name, you turn around and there's no one in sight?
Nope.
Okay.
I guess I'm not. That's why the podcast is not about me. It's about the guests, because I haven't had.
I know. I just wanted to see, because you asked the questions you asked so that you know a good amount, or else you're a super deep listener. Do you want to still continue?
Yeah. Plus, I'm hoping that the audience is following along and they're answering the questions.
It's good for them too. Yeah.
Yeah. I hope they're answering the questions for themselves.
Yeah. It's for both.
All right.
And it's a normal. So, okay. Do you dream in color?
Yes.
Okay. maybe about it. There were a few others that may come back, but
how many of them do you have to have right to be considered psychic?
There's no real right answer, but usually with the hearing or the dream life activity, whether it be paralyzation or dreaming color. Okay, have you ever had a falling or flying dream?
Yes.
Which one? Or both?
I know flying for sure, maybe falling. You know, falling's probably you wake up before you die, kind of falling off something.
Or before you wake up, because in that world, like dying would kind of be like waking up, where you just pop back into this world. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like you said, it's good for the audience because a lot of those things are kind of linked. Mm-hmm. Like the falling thing is linked to an out of body and the dream, so it's really good for it's good for the person too. Because but yeah, I just wanted to check, do that little test, and it's good for the audience. Oh, I have one more test.
All right.
Now I'm going to think of a number. Don't try to just say whatever number between 1 and 10.
All right.
I'm going to try and send you the number because I'm picturing it in my mind, and without thinking, because you get 3 chances, without thinking, just say any number that pops into your hand. I already have it written down, and I'm picturing it, and whatever pops in, just say it. 7. No. You have 2 more chances.
Oh, 3.
3.
There we go. Wow, that's awesome.
It works good, especially with the breathings and then like working on the dream life. But just the breathings alone can super enhance that, where you get it every time too.
Oh, that's awesome. Maybe I needed to like clear, I was listening to you, so I was trying not to think of a number. So maybe for the first one, I had to just like wipe the slate clean.
Yeah.
And then
it's good to make it's good to get the first one wrong, because it shows you which feeling is more right. And the second time when you said automatically 3, you automatically knew, and it was that.
That's cool.
So that's, it works well. It's a good field of study that we're in.
I'll tell you a story here real quick. I told my wife today. My wife is from the country Armenia, which is a far Eastern European country. And for those of you who are Christians, it's the first actual Christian country of the world. They said, hey, we're a Christian country. Anyways, from time to time, I've never been there, but I've watched a lot of video of it. And time to time, I'll dream about being there. And I was telling her today, when I woke up, or I was kind of half awake, I was trying to was probably dreaming of being there again. And I was trying to decide, had I actually ever been there, or if all these have been dreams? I had this strange feeling for a little while where I couldn't decide if I'd actually been there or not, because I've
was this before you met her?
No.
Okay. Oh. And could you just say it one more time? What happened?
I'm saying that I had been dreaming I dream from time to time that I'm in the country of Armenia. And I've dreamed about it enough where today, when I was half awake, waking up, I guess I had been dreaming about it again, and I was trying to decide, had I really been there, or had all of these been dreams? Because
so you had more
dreams, I've had more than one, and I've had so many realistic dreams that I couldn't discern if I had actually even been there or not.
Well, you still remember them, so that shows that it probably was a little bit more than a dream, if you can still remember them during the daytime.
Right.
Huh. So, that's interesting. Yeah. That's good that you remember and had them, Jeff. They mean something.
Yeah, it's like
are they reoccurring dreams or different?
Yeah, it's kind of like reoccurring dreams. I've had one the other day too. I don't think I told my wife about it, but I was like, and it was the same kind of thing. It was a reoccurring dream, and I couldn't realize am I really living this other life or experiencing that dream or not? Was it a dream or not? It was like fading back between both.
That's interesting.
So maybe this podcast is changing me, because I hear these stories every day. I try to post every day. So
yeah, it has to be seeping down in, to your subconscious.
Yeah.
But it's a good thing to think about, because there's a lot of knowledge to be obtained.
Right. All right. Well, I appreciate you, Eugene. Thanks for stopping by. Eugene has a book out too. I forgot the name of it, but you can check it out. You can see his NDE. You can read about it. What was the name of your book again?
America's Mystic Solves Near-Death Riddle.
America's. Say that
America's,
again.
I sent you a copy. America's Mystic Solves Near-Death Riddle.
America's Mystic Solves Near-Death Riddle. Yes, there it is.
Did you finish that?
No, I haven't yet.
Okay.
But I appreciate you sending it.
Busy, yeah. You're super. But the people like when you come out with like videos every day. We like that.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
get the food, get the popcorn, and then watch it like for an hour. Sometimes I'll watch like 2 back to back. Yeah.
I guess I've got you guys. If I put them out every day, I've captured you, and you can't leave me. All right, I better get going, Eugene. You take care, brother.
All right, thanks.
Good
Jeff.
seeing you, man.
Okay, take care.
Bye-bye. All right, don't report. All right.
People are asking, how did you know it was Armenia in your dream?
Oh, how did I know it was Armenia in my dream? I think I was there with my wife in my dream. Uh-oh, I didn't mean to do that. I think I was there with my wife in the dream. That would probably be my best guess. But that is a good point that you guys brought up. How do I know for sure it's Armenia? Because I've never actually been there. That is a very good point. Thank you guys for bringing that up. I'll have to think about that next time I'm dreaming or when I'm in that dream state. Or you know, half awake, half not awake. Let's get Amanda in here. And while we're waiting for Amanda. So yeah, do any of you guys, I can't read the chat, but maybe my wife can read it and she will get back to me on it, what you guys say. But have you guys had that where you've had enough reoccurring dreams where you are not even sure which one is real anymore? I need to get a dream expert on the podcast. I got to remember that. Find a dream expert or dream analysis expert. While we're waiting for Amanda, I want to get one of my drinks. I might go get one. She's coming. Give me 2 seconds. I'll be right back. All right, Amanda, where are you? I'm waiting for you. Now, guys, while we're waiting for Amanda, I'm going to tell you something about this. This is not a plug for the company. I'm not getting anything out of this. If you guys don't know what this is kombucha, right? I really like this a lot. Kombucha is basically, I think, they take tea and they make it into a probiotic. I can't know why I can't remember what they do, the process. But they and you can probably find it in like the health food section of your grocery store. And this company is called Live Soda. It's too bright in here, but it's called Live Soda, and they're based out of Austin, Texas. And so what's awesome about this is it's got probiotics in there, so it's great for your digestion. But also, this one, they have different flavors, and this is called Doctor, and it tastes almost just like Dr. Pepper, and it barely has any sugar. And this is a good thing for you and for your kids. I teach my kids this, is that for every 4, I guess, what is it? What does it say? Every 4 grams, for every 4 grams, that is 1 teaspoon of sugar. If you can remember that, 4 grams is 1 teaspoon of sugar, right? So if you look at like a soda, you're going to see probably like 40 grams of sugar. So you're going to know that that's like 10 teaspoons of sugar in a drink, right? And I think this whole can has like 2 grams, which is like half a teaspoon, which is like amazing compared to a soda. So the best one is Doctor, that tasted, the closest to it. I think the cherry cola tastes pretty close. So If you want something that's fizzy, a little bit sweet, something like a soda, and you want it to be healthy, I totally recommend these. So that is my recommendation for the evening. And my kids like it too. And like I said, if you want something that you want, if your kids drink sodas and you want to get them off sodas, then I recommend that. I don't know if they have these where you live. I hope they do. If you're in Texas, I'm pretty sure they'll have it. Amanda, where are you? We're not here. Asked to unmute. Let's see if we can get her in here. We had other people here, and I guess they got tired of waiting, which I don't blame them. But I don't see anybody else. So it's been really busy. Wow, we're up to 356. That is amazing. That is the biggest night ever. And we have 356 of y'all there, and I have nobody here in line. So I have, I have an opening here if someone wants to come in and join me. As you probably heard earlier, I really haven't had much experiences myself, so there's really not much for me to talk about. And so, the podcast is about the guests, not about me. I tell the guests that. I think I tell you guys that too, that the podcast is really about the guests, not about me. I'm the star. I'm the sky, as you see here. I'm the sky for the guests to shine in. They're all the stars. I'm just here to try to connect the guests with you guys. I'm like a facilitator here. So, maybe someone will join me because there's not much more for me to really say, guys. I don't have the experiences. I'm just going to be drinking my soda. One more thing that I'll pass along with you. I'll pass along health tips. I don't really talk about it much. I've said it from time to time that I'm a chiropractor. I don't practice generally much anymore. I keep my license current, but I hadn't really practiced in about 5 or 6 years. I practiced recently. I just covered somebody's office for a couple weeks. But as I do my continuing education, I go to great classes. And one thing for your health benefits, if you're into health food drinks and stuff, one thing I recommend to prevent sickness or illness or whatever is to if you're the person that likes to make shakes, we put turmeric root in our shakes. From what I've learned, that turmeric powder will only be good from 30 days after it was processed. So probably if you buy turmeric powder, it's not even effective anymore. It's probably older than 30 days. Unless you had some kind of date on the packaging. So like if you go to the grocery store and you buy turmeric root, my wife will cut off the brown skin around it, and then we'll put it in the Vitamix and just grind it up. And then you can add that to your shake. And then also I think for turmeric to work, we got some people. All right. I'll finish this up. For turmeric to work, in order for your body to absorb it, you have to use black pepper with it. And black pepper will kind of take out the inhibitor so you can absorb it. But you want to use raw turmeric root in your shakes and add black pepper. And maybe on the next time around, if you guys like this, I'll give you another health tip. I have a question.
What prompted you to start an MD?
What prompted me to start it? I was just trying to do anything paranormal. I'm going to have to get to the next person here, Amanda. For some reason, you're not able to make it. And it was just a paranormal subject that I would like. And the first paranormal guest I had, which you guys can go back and see, it was over a year ago, was Kirsty Salisbury. And she was kind enough to be my guest, and it did really well. And I think that podcast kind of enabled me to get more paranormal guests, especially NDEs. I think Ruben was next. So let's see what's up with Ruben. Ruben. Are you there? Are you? I hear you. Let's put ask to start video. Oh, he's gone. He left. I think he's left. All right, I think Janet was next. So let's add Janet. See what happens. Ask to start video. Here we go. All right, Janet. You're not Janet. Hello? I don't think she knows she's on.
Hello. Hang on, I'll tell you it's gone. Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. All right. You are Janet then.
Jeanette.
Jeanette. Jeanette.
I've been on once before with the angel story.
Yeah, what's going on, Jeanette? Thanks for joining us.
Good. No, not a lot at the moment. Well, funny stuff, but I just wondered whether I had a couple of stories. I had an amazing intuition story. And then there's a story about a memorial I created for miscarriages, where people can bring a stone with the name of the baby, but there's a real backstory with that, and Jesus was involved with that one. But I was just wondering if you're interested in the amazing intuition one.
Tell us.
Okay, so this is going back when my older kids were quite small, and I'd been out for the day, and it's like getting really late, and I'm trying to, get the kids in the car and head home to try and get dinner done, before the ex-husband came home, all that kind of thing. So I'm hooting home, and I just get this overwhelming feeling to go and stop and see this friend. And I'm having an argument with myself or my higher self or something else. It's getting late. I got to get dinner on. I got to get kids to bed. No, you've got to go and see this person. But, and they were coming up, their driveway was coming up. But to get to their place, you had to go on this track, and there was a cow shed, and you had to go through gates, and you had to go up this hill. And in the end, I'm coming up to the driveway, and I just spin in. And I go through all that process, track through cow poo, muck to open these gates. I get up there, and I left the kids in the car, and I go in, and here's my friend who was English, and she was just sitting down to her dinner in front of, I don't know what it was, EastEnders or something. It was like her favorite show. So she's sitting there focused and sort of, yes, hi, what are you doing here at this time? And I'm standing there going, why am I here? Because she's just watching this TV. And I glance out at the ranch slider, and just up the hill was a sand pit, and her baby was about 18 months, 2 years old. And I saw him sitting in the sand pit, and his back was to me, but he was making this movement of, and I thought, what's going on? And so I just bypassed her, went out the ranch slider, and I walked up and I walked around, and his face was blue and he was choking. And I went up and grabbed him and got my finger in his mouth, but it was hitting something. But I managed to get it down the side and flicked out a bottle cap and vomit. He was just choking on his own vomit. And if I hadn't followed that intuition, her little boy is likely to have died, because she was focused on her program, and it had only just started. So, and sitting down to her meal, because she'd already fed the kids, so he had a full tummy of vomit, to vomit up. So that was a crazy, story. But sometimes I just think you get those sort of intuitions, and you got to follow them.
What's great that you followed him, because you saved his life.
I think so. Yeah. When I look back, I think, yeah, he probably would have.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's kind of like what we were talking earlier about. I was talking to someone, a couple guests back, about how, things ripple out from you, and like, things that, you do today, how it affects other people.
Very much so. I've seen that in my own life.
It made me think that, I almost thought you were in Texas, because you're starting to talk about cows and being out and about. It sounds like you're right around where I am from. Are you in Australia or New Zealand?
New Zealand, and it's a country of sheep and cattle. That's how. Yeah.
Yeah, so, I was thinking that's where you were. I'm starting to learn the New Zealand accent versus the Australian accent.
Yeah, and apparently people think, and also from the North Island and the South Island is a different. The South Island roll their R's a bit more.
Oh wow!
And I think that's a Scottish influence from people coming over.
I don't think I've had one. I don't think I've talked to anybody from New Zealand that rolls their R's yet.
No, maybe probably the South Island. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, so they say girls instead of girls, and seagulls instead of seagulls, sort of thing. Yeah,
it's kind of like a hard R, almost like Irish.
Well, I think it's because all the immigrants that came here, all the different nationalities, and so they became teachers, and they just their accents all blended, and we've come up with this unique accent, I suppose. But to me, it's just normal. So
I really want to get down there, because from Lord of the Rings is all I know about New Zealand, and it looks amazing.
It's a beautiful place. I went for a trip because a guy I knew was actually in the Lord of the Rings.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he was, but he was dark, so he was actually in a role as an orc. And I went down to see him one time, and he actually took me to the gates where the castle was set up in an old quarry. You know what a quarry is? Yeah. So they built this castle in the quarry, but it was like pouring down with rain, and I couldn't see anything much, just rocks in the distance. And yeah, so it is an amazing place. It's like, where I live, it's only like maybe an hour and a half or 2 hours to go from one side of the coast to the other, but I don't know about the lengthways.
Right.
I've only been to Christchurch, down South Island.
Right. Yeah, my geography of New Zealand's not that good, but yeah, it's a lot smaller. I think that I'm not saying anything great about Texas. I'm just Texas, where I live. Just the state alone is huge. I mean, it takes from one side.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
From one side to the other, it's like a 12
everyone's like traveling for days to get from somewhere to somewhere, and I'm like, that's nuts.
Yep.
Yeah, 2 hours here where I am. I'm very much up in the top little point, and 2 hours to get to our main city. But I don't want to go there because it's in lockdown. It's in level 4 lockdown, and everywhere else either side is in level 2 at the moment. So, yeah, I'm in no hurry to go to the city.
I don't blame you. All right, Jeanette. Well, thanks for sharing with us again and visiting with us. I appreciate you, and enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you. You
too. To the next person.
Bye.
Take care. Don't report. Somebody told me once before how to not do this, where they won't come up again, and I should have fixed it then and there, so I don't have to keep doing this. Beverly's iPad. For some reason, Beverly's iPad seems familiar. We'll see. With us, I appreciate you, and I hear myself.
Hi, Jeff.
Hello.
Do you hear me?
I hear you. I just don't see you yet.
Oh, okay. It has asked me to start video.
There you
Hi,
are.
Jeff.
Hello. How are you, Beverly?
It's Beverly in Tennessee again.
All right. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yes. Well, I just wanted to finish in the comments the last time when I told you about dying in the Pyrenees Mountains on the Camino.
Okay.
Then I told that, of course, I came back, but everybody in the comment section wanted to know if I finished the Camino. And I did in 31 days. And I lost 15 pounds and I only died once. But I did want to tell you one more thing about that. Mm-hmm. The whole time that I was dead, I never knew I was dead. I came back. And when I came back, I immediately knew I had died. My body told me I had died, and plus everybody's faces. Oh my goodness! But anyway, so I many things happened all at once. But one thing that happened was eventually I couldn't even look at my daughter, who was standing right beside me when it happened. I had sat down to tie my shoes, and I was just gone. So when I came back, I had been gone so long. And of course, I didn't know I was dead the whole time I was dead. And then, but I had not thought of my children not once the whole time I was gone. Yeah. And so I was very ashamed. I was very ashamed and very embarrassed because I knew I had been there over 5 months. And so I couldn't even talk to my daughter. I couldn't look at her. And so eventually as I began talking and I told him immediately, I went somewhere. And finally, I asked my daughter, I said, how long was I gone? And she said, less than a minute. Wow. And so that was the hardest thing mentally.
Well, let me stop.
Go ahead.
Let me stop you there. Let me ask you a couple questions. So you were dead on this realm for about a minute, but in your experience, you felt you were there for like 5 months, right?
Yes, I knew I had been there for 5 months. I was first with the wall and the 2 walls, and then I was with Mary, and then I was with the wisdom of God, and then Mary brought me to my family, and then I went back to the wisdom of God. And 3 times while I was there, I had the thought, I can't wait to tell. It'll save the world. And so when I came back, I forgot everything Mary had told me. Of course, massive download. I knew everything. And I began to cry because I wanted to save the world. I felt like that was what Mary had prepared me for. And so I felt I had let her down. And so I had this bitter disappointment with myself. And I didn't, later, of course, I understood more, but for about 4 days now, I still had to get up and walk out because nobody's coming to get you in the Pyrenees Mountains. And so then every day I had to walk, but for about 4 days, I really wrestled with that time difference because I knew I had been there for 5 months. And it was just like, mentally, it was driving me, to really, really, I wasn't able to sleep. I wasn't able to eat. And all I could do was cry and walk. And we would get up early and start walking, and you walked all day. And of course, I was very slow because I had just been through such a thing. But I was so shocked by the experience that I never internalized it, so that I thought about, well, I'm dead and my legs got this funny feeling. I just got up and did what I had to do. Just like I did to get out of that mountain. I just followed my daughter and she got me off the mountain. And, so every night I would just lay awake in bed. And of course you're in albergues over there and you're sleeping with maybe 100 people are in that albergue. It's usually a church or an old monastery, a convent, something like that. It's been made into an albergue to sleep all these pilgrims. And so I had to be quiet, but I would cry and just beg God. And I would tell him, I'm not giving you any rest until you reconcile this. I have to understand how this could be 5 months and less than a minute is what my daughter told me.
Well, so I was going to say that I wouldn't feel shameful about not remembering your daughter, because I think it's pretty common that people don't remember their earthly life here or remember their family too much. And from what I've heard or read, when you do start remembering your family, it's like as if you create some kind of threshold that makes you come back. It's like you lose the ego and you lose your memory of this kind of lifetime. And when you start to come back or you remember family or something, all of a sudden that kind of is a catalyst to sending you back. So again,
Yeah, maybe so.
I would say have no guilt or shame about not remembering your daughter or any other family.
Well, you think that until you come back and your daughter's standing right there and you realize in 5 months, I didn't think of my two daughters at all. And I was very ashamed. I mean, I couldn't even look at her, and I was horrified by it. But really, I was so distraught over reconciling this 5 months to this 30 seconds. And so I just kept praying about it. And even as I would walk, of course, I only could say 2 words for several days. I could only say Nene and Titi. Those are my 2 cats now. But yeah, and so my daughter became Nene. I call her Nene. But it was all I could say, other than to just mumble, and I would just pray all day and all night, help me to understand this, because it was just really confused. So it was probably about the 5th day, the early morning of the 5th day. And I had been praying all night, please, help me to have some peace about this. And all of a sudden it dropped into my spirit. A day is as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is as a day. So I grabbed my phone and turned on the calculator and ran up 3 flights of stairs to get to the ladies' room so I could do the math. And sure enough, if you break the time down, guess how long 1 second, according to that scripture, lasts? And so it's almost 5 days. It lasts 4.88 days. And so I just took half of the minute she gave me. So if you 30 seconds times that almost 5, you can see we're at 150 days real fast, which is 5 months. And I mean, it was just the most, as soon as that happened, all of that sorrow of having forgotten fell off of me, and my joy returned, and things that Mary had taught me, things started coming to me. Now that hasn't all come back to me, but I understood quantum physics as soon as I got back. And so many more wonderful things happened too. I mean, just so many miracles from the time I came back. They finally she got me, she put her pack on her back and my pack on her chest, and got me off the Pyrenees Mountains to where we came down the slope, and everybody at this little vendor truck burst into applause, because I don't think they thought they would ever see me alive again. And eventually this man, he told my daughter through translator, he didn't speak American and we didn't speak Spanish. I speak American, English, sorry. And but he told my daughter she'll never make it down the last trek. And so he drove us to our albergue. And so when I got back to the USA about a month, I just wanted to thank this man and do something. And so I wrote to the albergue and asked him, who is this man and where is he? And they wrote me back. I've still got the email, and his name is Jesus. And he runs a refuge in Ibanez, the next town over.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, and even more amazing was I'm not Catholic, and I knew nothing about the Camino. I just wanted to go because it was a hike my daughter was going. But as I got into this hike, you would hike from town to town, and you'd go through the cathedrals, or the main thing, you tour and go to Pilgrim Mass. And as I would go to Pilgrim Mass, I would learn about Mary, the Maria of the Camino, and how she would help the pilgrims, and even found the body of St. James and led them back to that body. It's just a miraculous story. So I felt like I had met this Maria of the Camino, that she had found me and let me come back. I also wondered if I'd ever known if I was dead, maybe I wouldn't have come back. Maybe that's why, because I just thought, wow, how could I not have known I was dead for 5 months? But I never did. It was all about just just the learning and the knowing, and it's just such a great experience. Of course, they put me with my heavenly family too. And so I was with them, but I still didn't make the connection that I was dead. It never occurred to me, not once, in 5 months.
Wow. All right, Beverly, I got to run to the next person, but thanks for coming back and sharing with us again. It was an amazing experience you had.
It was.
And I wish you the best.
Thanks, Jeff. Good night.
Take care. Good night. I have a question. All right, let me catch this question here real quick. Keep going. Education, Doctor. Major influences on his life. Wow, that's this is from Charles, and Charles Mizak. Hello, Charles, and he wants to profile myself regarding education. I guess quickly, I did my undergraduate studies. Then I went and got a degree as a chiropractor. They call it a doctor of chiropractic. My biggest influences on my life. Gosh, that's a big question. Who are my biggest influences on my life? I'm going to have to think about that and get back to you. And so my undergraduate studies is basically pre-med, but I didn't actually get a degree. I did 2 years of pre-med. And in those days, many, many years ago, or over 20 years ago, to be a chiropractor, you didn't have to have a 4-year degree then. You just had to have at least so many hours, which is about 2 years. And I think dental school was the same back then. Now, I don't know. I think most, if not all, chiropractic schools require you to actually have the 4-year degree. So I didn't have that. I just had a lot of, probably the majority of my undergraduate work was science related. I guess one of them was a book that I really, I think helped me in my life. And this is great for this podcast. And I think the book is called, I think it's Dale Carnegie's book, and it is How to Win Friends and Influence People. And one thing that always stuck with me from that book is it said something like, it's better to be interested in people than trying to be interesting to people. So me being interested in people is kind of like what this podcast is about. And on that note, we will go to Renee. No, I think I pronounced it right. Renee is the accents on the second syllable, and maybe Bois. I'm not sure how we pronounce his or her last name. But thank you for the question, Charles. And the last I checked, it's 361 people. That is so awesome. Thank you guys so much. That's the most it's ever been so far. I want to let you guys also know that sometimes people will ask me to have non-Americans as guests. So tomorrow, the podcast I'm planning on posting is an NDE with a woman from Ireland. And I think this is my first guest from Ireland, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Thank you, Spiritual Sniper. Great book. Yes, it is a great book. I should have my kids read that book. And I don't know if he's getting in or not. Let's see. So I officially, here he comes. He or she. Renee, hello. You got to get your mic. Oh, it's connecting. I want to let you guys know while he's connecting. The podcast.
Yes, I'm there.
Oh, okay. Give me 1 second, Renee.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Yes.
The podcast is officially from 7 to 9, but I never really stop at 9. After 9, I just keep going till there's nobody left. So this is kind of like a last call. If somebody wants to get in and join me, I have one person there and whoever else shows up. And if no one else shows up, then I'll just end it. Anyways, Renee, where are you from?
I'm from Montreal, Canada.
Montreal. Do you pronounce your last name?
Yes.
How do you pronounce your last
name?
Bois. Okay, that was a good guess.
Yeah. Yeah, means wood in English.
Oh, it does. Okay, cool.
Yes.
That.
And Renee means reborn. So.
Reborn. I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. So what's going on with you paranormally or spiritually? Or?
Well, since English is not my first language, I'll try to do my best to be concise in my explanations. So, but I can still manage it quite well. My English, I think that it's not bad. So, I have memories from very young age. Okay, on the first day I walked. I can remember the first days I walked. I was very sick as a young boy. The first few months of my life I passed at the hospital, and I can clearly remember that the nurse came to me and said that my mother was there. Okay, but at that time, since I was a long time at the hospital, I was starting to get the confusion of who my mother was. So when I get into the corridor walking towards my mother, I jumped into the nurse's arm, because at that time the nurses were nuns. Okay, there were still nuns at the place I used to live. So I jumped in the nurse's arm, and my mother found that very bizarre, because I had passed so much time at the hospital. But one of the nurses told my mom, "Do not worry, because we sense something in your son that he will do things in the future." But this is one thing she told. But I'll explain all of the things that happened to me afterwards. And I think that now it's one thing I have to tell is that I never told anybody. This is the first show. This is the first time. You are the first to hear everything I am about to tell you.
Thank you.
And so it is very hard for me, because I think that now it's the Lord that is asking me to talk about those things. I really feel it inside that now it must be known. Okay, so that is the reason. And coming back home, like a year and a half later, maybe I was like a year and a half or 2 years old, something like that. I was in my room, and I was sleeping in the same room as my younger brother. His name is Robert. So, in the night, it was close to the morning. I can clearly remember. Okay, there's a little light that was starting to come towards the window, so we could see that the day was. And there's 3 balls of light that came through the window. As I was sitting, I was finding that so wonderful. There was. I cannot explain you the peace and the joy that was coming out of that, and I was so happy. I was trying to wake up my brother. I said, "Robert, wake up! Look at the balls of lights! Wake up! Wake up!" And I was not capable of asking him. He was not waking up. So and at that time, the thing that happened is that the 3 balls of light came into one. So I was starting to figure out later. The only thing that this message came to me is that about the Trinity. You understand? The Father, the Son, and the Spirit. Okay, so that's the only thing I thought about that on the later. If we go into the other paranormal thing, okay, it was maybe a year. I was about 3 years old. Okay, and we used to live in a place. It was a very old house, and the basement was still made from dirt. We had the cement block that was, what the base of the house, but it was dirt. So I was in the winter when I wanted to play. I used to go down in the basement and play with my little trucks, because there was dirt I could play with. Make roads and everything, and trying to have fun. Mm-hmm. And I was playing with my trucks, and it was at night, and I don't know why, but okay, I know that the front door was locked and the back door of the garage was locked, and nobody could get in the garage. Okay, but we had, because it was an old house, we could, there was a small window that we could send all of the wood that we wanted to put in the house for the wood stove, okay, to pass through. Okay, so we were putting all of the wood that we needed to eat the house through that window. And that window communicated with the garage. Okay. And at that time, what happened is that I was playing with my trucks, and I even remember what I was thinking at that time, but I won't get into that. But I know that I had a sense of urgency, but it was a bad sense of urgency to look behind me at the window. And there was two big red eyes. That was very fearful red eyes that were looking at me. And I knew that it was something that just the vibration that went all through me, it was like fearful vibration. That thing wanted to scare me off. Understand? And it knew then that I started running because I was scared. I was young, and going up to my mother, Mom, there's something in the garage. There's something. And they heard the noise. My mother and my father heard the noise in the garage. And they went, and a few things were crumbled down, but the door, the front door and the back door were locked. So they knew that something was particular that happened there, but they never asked questions, and the time went on, you know. And it took a few years before I got other things that happened. I was starting to get into high school. I was about 13, 14 years old. And inside, I was feeling very, I had a lot of weight on my soul, on my mind, and I could feel that something was wrong with me. And I didn't understand what was happening. Now I understand more. Okay, I understand more. Okay, and what I can say is that at that moment, there was I was getting a lot of information about the future and things like that, but I was not trying to really listen to it. I was in a pushing mode towards spirituality. I was rejecting it, but it was coming strong to me, and it's still today. Every day it's still strong. Okay, and at that time I was starting to open a little bit to it, but when I opened, it's like the same feeling I used to have when I was 3 with the red eyes and everything came back stronger. Okay, and at that time I was really scared because I was starting to think that I was possessed. Understand? And what I saw is that not what I saw, but what I felt during a night. I started like literally levitating in my bed, and my feet, okay? And this is not dreaming, okay? I was not in a dream, and was physical stuff, okay? So I was starting like to levitate in the bed, but my feet upward, okay? And I was starting to form a cross, you know, with my arms and everything, but the feet upward and the head downward. You understand? Mm-hmm. I didn't knew that symbol, but now I know. Okay, I know that symbol, but at that time I didn't know what it was. Okay, and I called my mother psychically with my mind because I could not speak. No words were coming out of my mouth. Okay, and I called my mother, and when she opened the door, my feet went bang on the bed just before she opened the door, so she could not see. They didn't want her to see what was happening. Okay, and at that time, the day after, during the night, it was asking me to go through the window, and there was okay, and I was seeing. It was not a dream; it was the real stuff. I was seeing like. In the time of Jesus, you know, all of the robes they were wearing and everything, and it was like a kind of priest or something. He was all wearing black with the big beard and everything, but he was all in black. He was in black, okay? And it was like a kind of I could not say a bad energy or a good energy. It was like in the middle. I was not getting a clear feeling. Okay, but to come back to the levitation thing, when my mother said, "Renee, you called me," I said, "Yes, Mom, I called you. I just wanted to see if you were fine and everything." And I went back to sleep. Okay, and that day after, I saw this other thing, and time went on, and I know that I had this urge to get connected. Okay, but there's also a strange thing inside of me, that there's a lot of pressure that is like pushing me to not do that. Okay, so and the next thing I'm going to tell you about, I know why. Okay, I know why. Okay, because one thing that happened, okay, in the Bible, they would say it would be written with the I was brought in spirit. Okay, so you know that some people who know the Bible, they say you will be. I was brought in spirit, and I saw this, and I saw that, and I saw. Okay, so I was literally brought in spirit. I knew that I was not in my physical body. There was a wall of light to infinity on the left, to infinity on the right. Okay, or left or right. Okay, and I was on the light side, and there was a dark to infinity on the left, to infinity on the right, and there's an end that came through that wall of darkness, and that end was like the scariest end you could see in an horror movie, like kind of big claws and everything, and okay, he wanted me to grab my hand. So I gave the hand, okay, but I knew inside, I was peaceful inside, okay. There was no, and at that time I understood something, okay, and it told me, okay, a voice came through that darkness, and it told me, we will always be there to watch you. We will always be there to watch you. And they still are today, to this date.
Do you think that was some kind of demon that was trying to attack you? This is your
more,
guardian angel protecting you?
It's more than it's evil in its purest form. Okay, so people got to understand this. Okay, it's evil in its purest form. But at the same time, I am telling you, this is crazy. Okay, I feel inside like I have a sword, like a sword. You know, like in French we say épée. Okay, yeah. The sword. Okay, and they ate it to death. That dark side, they ate it. They ate it so much. Okay, but what I can tell you, if I can help people tonight, okay. Because I have other things to tell you about ETs and everything.
I'll have to get you back for another one next week.
Okay, yeah, okay. Because I had ET experience like big time. I have children in the stars, like they would say, and they showed my children. But anyway, I'll keep it for other. Okay, what I can tell the people is that the sword, the love, they ate the thing that the darkest hates the most is love. Okay, just love them. That's your sword. That's your, in French we say bouclier. It's like something that is protecting you, that the warriors in Rome time they used to have to protect themselves from the sword. Okay, it's like it's yours. It is your protection.
It's your shield.
Yes, that's the word I wanted to say. Thank you so much. Okay, your shield and your sword. It's the love. When you love, when you have the compassion, you know, there's a guy that came 2,000 years ago and said a few things that were resembling to that. You know, you remember that guy? Many people remember that guy. Okay, and But most people, they're trying that they have to fight. No, don't fight the evil. Love them. Love them. If someone hits you on the right cheek, present the left one. They hate it to death. They don't like love because it has a vibration they cannot stand. They cannot stand the love. Love them to death. Love them to death.
Renee, that was a great message, and thank
you so much
for sharing. I've
thank
got to
you
run to
so
the next
much
person, but
thank you so much.
I hope I see you next week, and we can talk about
yes
these ETs.
And the Lord is telling me to end with, may the peace be with you all.
Thank you, and also with you.
All right, thanks.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
All right, don't report. All right, before I see this typo, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you. And let me get to a question real quick. All right, can take Donetta next, please. I popped up and expected it shouldn't take long. All right, so we'll get Donetta next. And we'll see if she makes it here. So we are moving right along. And this will be interesting. Forever Conscious Research Channel. I don't know. I think I might know who that is, but I'm not sure. But I like that we have a researcher coming on soon here. And the last I saw, we were like at the 372 is the highest I've seen so far. So that is awesome. Let's see. Donetta, can you make it on your iPhone 440552? I guess it's your phone number, huh? Interesting. And that was interesting about his name, that obviously he was French. I never knew Renee meant I think he said it was renewal or rebirth. And then also, I don't know any French, except now I know bois, which means wood. And I can tell you, I wonder if rebirth is also close to like resurrection, if that means the same thing. I wish I would have asked him that, if Renee means resurrection, because the name Haratun in Armenian names resurrection, and basically for them it also basically translates to Easter. So I think that's very cool. All right, Donetta, can you make it? Ask to start video. I don't know if your iPhone is working well or not. 361. What does that mean? 361. Peace across the world coming soon. And I'll give her just a little more time, and then we've got to move on. We have to move on. We've got to keep going. All right, I'm going to keep going, Donetta. We'll see if Forever Conscious is here. If you can get back in, because I'll be talking to him or her. Don't report. And we'll go from there. Admit. And we'll see where we're at. More asked to start video. Almost 400 people. Yes, we're so close to 400 people, guys. So close. I wonder if we get like a certain number, like, I don't know what it is, but I wonder if you get like a certain number, like, if something special will happen, you know, like if you get to 500 or 1,000 or something. 379. Okay, I got to remember that. So far, the best I've seen, the highest was 379. And maybe he can't get in either. I think he sent something to me and said he'll be back. Renee means born again. All right, I think we've got you. Hello, I like the candles in the background, but your voice isn't on yet. Let me see.
Hey, Jeff.
Now I hear
Sorry about
you.
that.
No problem.
Yeah, we were messaging a little bit on Discord.
Right. I'm glad you made it. Yeah, I was trying to get back to you on that. Can you make your voice any louder? Because it's hard for me to hear you. And now that's where I recognize you from.
Is that any better? Or?
It didn't change at all. Can you guys hear him okay? I'm going to ask the audience if they can hear you okay.
What the heck?
Can you guys hear him okay?
That's weird. I don't hear you now, Jeff.
You don't hear me? I still hear you. It's just kind of low in volume. And I might have to go like this to hear you. We'll see. It's a time delay.
I can't hear you.
It's a time delay on the from me to YouTube. Probably about 30 seconds. Yes, no, 2 no's, 3 no's. Bit quiet. I can hear you. So it's a 50-50 thing. Do you on your Zoom?
Maybe I should leave the meeting and rejoin.
Either that, or if you go into your Zoom, oh, you can't even hear me at all. Why don't you leave and come back then? Why don't you? You can't hear me. It says you've got it muted. I'm going to remove you, and then you try to come back. Let's try that. Don't report. All right. What was that? I think I have another question. And that would probably be a private answer for that one. We'll see if he gets back. I think I've been chatting with him. Well, I know I've been chatting with him on Discord. And by the way, if you guys, I've been mentioning it from time to time. Discord is something for free. If you go to discord.com, it is mostly used by video game players that when they're playing games, they can chat with each other. And I've set up a Discord account so you can go get your own. It's all free. You can get your own name, account, and then you can join the JeffMara podcast Discord. And it's kind of like a community. If you want to go into a chat room and actually talk to each other, you could do that, as well as there's places where you can post and chat with each other as well. It's cool. It's pretty cool. Maybe very cool, actually. The last I checked, right now there's about 55 members. So it's slowly growing. There's not maybe a lot of techie people here, but it's not too hard. And if you want to, meet some more like-minded people and make friends, perhaps, and, chit-chat with other people, that may be the place for you to do that. So we'll wait and see if he can make it in. Excuse me. So let me see of other things that have really affected me. I told about the Dale Carnegie book. That was something that was powerful for me. An inspiration for my podcast is Coast to Coast AM. I don't know if any of you guys listen to that, but that's a radio show that's on in the U.S. in my time zone, which is Central U.S. time, which goes from midnight to 4 a.m. And it's basically paranormal topics like this. So mine's, that's how it was inspired me to do my work. Do I go on Discord? From time to time, I do. I post on there. I don't go on there and chat too much. It's just that I am crazy busy because doing this podcast, I'm either preparing for a guest, I'm either actually with a guest, because I'm generally with a guest every day, and then a lot of time is actually looking for new guests, and I go to different places trying to find new guests. So that ends up that occupies a lot of my time, and then I have some other stuff that I work on, and then so it is I just don't have a lot of free time to hang out. But there was something I wanted to add to that, but I was going to say that probably the hardest thing is actually about this podcast is finding the guests, because at the rate, since I do them every day, I go through guests so fast, right? I mean, to find so many indie ears out there, there's a lot out there, but to find them and get them on the show, it's not as easy as you would think it is. And now that I've done so many over and over again, I think it has become a little bit more difficult. Although one of the good things about me growing the channel is that now people are starting to reach out to me, which is great. So that's because of you guys. As we get bigger, more guests will reach out to me and I don't have to go find them. And I think that once we get the channel to a really big size, maybe at least 100,000 subscribers, we might find even bigger guests that will be willing to come on the show, like celebrities. Like I just saw on a comment on a video today, the actress Jane Seymour had an NDE. And I think I've also seen that the actress Sharon Stone has had an NDE. So it would be great to get them on the show and see what they experienced. So it looks like, I don't know if he's going to make it back or not. And I'm already 46 minutes over time. So I'll wait a few more minutes and we'll see. I think one thing, as I may have mentioned before, for those of you who have come to the live stream, since it's difficult to especially find so many NDE guests, I'm trying to get other guests that you guys like and that are interested in. And it seems right now that what seems to do pretty well on the channel is angel videos. So maybe you can leave a comment here that you like angel videos. What other type of guests would you like me to have? And we'll see. And it's a 30-second delay, so it takes me 30 seconds or so for you guys to answer me. Thank you, Lighthouse. Perhaps your listeners can send potential. Yes, and that is another thing that I really am thankful for you guys, because some of you guys are just sending me guests all the time, and there's a certain, probably 10 to 20% of the guests that I've had is because of you guys. We've got somebody. Let's see who this is. Hong Tan Ven. I think he or she is Vietnamese. It seems like a Vietnamese name. We'll find out. So yes, and if you want to contact me and submit to me guests, or if you want to be a guest and you want to contact me, the best way is on Facebook. There's a JeffMara podcast page, and you can write to me there. As well as if you look at the homepage of YouTube, it'll say, if you look at the top, it'll say something like videos, playlists, community, something. If you go to community, on the about page, it's called about. So if you go to the about page, and if you scroll down, it'll say business email. And my business email, if you want to email me personally. Wow. Okay. So maybe we got Asia coming online right now. This looks like Vietnam, and this looks like Korea. That looks like Korean language. That's my best guess. So that's interesting. And I heard this person's in the background, but I don't know what happened. Asked to start video, and we're at 378. All right, almost 400. Yes, that is true. You're experts in this subject. Have you had any supernatural experiences? I was speaking earlier with Eugene Braxton about I've been having some interesting dreams over the past few months to 6 months, and maybe it's because of this podcast that I've been having these dreams. All right, so I'm going to go to the next one. For some reason, I don't think yours is working. And so I am going to do this, and we'll see if we can get the next person working. Don't report. And this is the one that looks like it was in Korean. So we'll see if this is how this is going to work out. And who this is. All right. Asked to start video. I will start video later as a chat. Well, I need you to start it now because this is YouTube and we want to see you. That makes it more fun and more interesting. And wow, all these people are showing up. Maybe it's like they just woke up on the other side of the planet or something. Okay, I'm going to ask to unmute. I'll give you a second here, and then I've got to move on because time is about to run out. And more people are showing up. Where am I? There we are. So I'm going to try the next one. Remove. And let's don't report. And let's try this person. Joining. So that was 2 in a row that's not working. I don't know what's going on over there. I hope this will work. Synchronicity. Famous medium Marilyn Rosner from Montreal. Okay, that person left. How about Rebecca? Asked to start video. It's like a mystery guest. Who are these people they're trying to get on? Oh, we're going to have somebody. Hello. Connecting to audio. Well, nope. On my end, I'm reading you and it says Rebecca is connecting to audio. I guess she's on her phone. You see her finger come real close up like that. Premonition dreams would be interesting. Dreams of departed loved ones. Dreams. Yes, I would like to get a dream analysis expert on. I think that would be interesting. What do you guys think about that? Nancy Lee. That is a good point. Yeah, I'm worrying about that. If somehow maybe they're blocking them in Vietnam from getting on Zoom. More. I wonder if it say asked to do that. So I've had 2 guests from, well, yeah, one from China, one from and then one from that's Chinese from Australia. I've been talking to a guest from Japan, and we just have not been able to get on the right day to schedule him. And I think we may be talking about orbs in Japan, so that might be pretty cool. All right, everybody likes dreams. All right, great. Can anybody recommend Can anybody recommend somebody for dreams? Anybody recommend a guest that I should get for that? So we're all on the same page here. Are you there?
I'm here.
All right, we got you.
First time, sorry.
Welcome. Where are you from, Rebecca?
London,
London.
England.
All right. So it must be, what time is it over there?
5 to 4 in the morning.
What are you doing up at this time besides watching
I actually
me?
work nights. I work nights. I'm watching you.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Are you at work right now?
No, this is the first Saturday I've had off. I keep saying I'll call and then, it's scary. So.
Oh, that's okay. Well, I wouldn't tell your boss on you.
Oh, you can't see. Sorry. So no, I actually had this week off. So okay. I love what you do, Jeff. Thank you. It's a great channel.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay. This story might come out in little bits and bobs. I suppose the weirdest thing about it is I only remembered it about 4 years ago. It's amazing that something traumatic you can completely block out. I had no idea. So I remember working in the pub and speaking to historian old men that come in and talk, and they were talking about paranormal stuff. And I said I would hate to have such a paranormal experience. I think it would scare me for life. And fast forward, I started getting lots of flashbacks, and I always had an interest in paranormal anyway. And the more I watched, the more come back to me. So everything's now come back to me all these years later. Rewind to about 2007. I don't know how it started, but basically this woman's daughter threatened to put a so-called hex on me, and I laughed. I don't believe in it.
Yeah.
Who would believe in it?
Sure.
And her mum and dad come round and they said, it's a really short story, but I won't bore you with why. But I didn't know their daughter. Something to do with her brother, their son, had brought me into a mess of drama. And she was angry. Her parents come round, who she didn't grow up with, but her parents come round and said, don't let her in the house. She's going to put hex on you. She's into white witchcraft. What a load of rubbish. I just laughed. Don't talk wet, as my nan would say. She came round. Boyfriend at the time actually let her in. She threw something on the floor, walked out saying, you've been hexed, blah, de blah. Didn't think much of it. Anyway, so fast forward a few weeks, months, weird things start happening. We had a long-haired collie, a rough border collie, really clever dog, very clever dog. And I started blaming her for everything weird that was going on. And in the end, when stuff like that starts happening, you put it down to so many things. And I suppose the 20th time, 30th time, you realise that you're not imagining it. It's not the dog.
Wow.
And it got dark. Boyfriend at the time worked nights, so I was on my own. And it got dark really every night. And it terrorised the dog, just terrorised the dog. And even people visiting started to notice things and see things. I was locked in the bathroom. The dog was locked into wardrobes. The doors would open, the chains would go, the ovens would be turned on and off. That's just the light stuff. And I knew if I went out in the middle of the night, because I wanted to, I was terrified, I'd never come back. So you start to think, oh, maybe it is real, it was really terrifying. And the stuff, it ended up in almost a fire, broken windows. all paranormal. I don't know what else to say.
Well, let me ask you this: did she ever remove the hex?
No. So it got so bad, and I didn't want to share everything with the ex-boyfriend because his mum had died in that flat only a year before. We'd been together a long time, so I didn't want him thinking that I was insinuating that his mum was haunting us or whatever, you know. So no, it got that bad when the fire almost happened, that I went to a Christian church. I'm C of E. I'm Church of England. Not a churchgoer, not particularly religious. Certainly wasn't them. And I asked for help. I asked the vicar for help, and he looked at me with disgust and couldn't wait to get me out.
Wow.
At the time, I was working in a shop, and there was a South African lady, and she used to go to church every day. She was Catholic, and I've never had much to do with the Catholic Church at all. And I confided in her, and she actually come round with holy water, and she blessed every room, and it calmed down. The only thing that happened after that was a brick was pushed in the cupboard onto a mirror, and it smashed, obviously. After that, nothing. I will say and like I say, I blocked it from my memory. Years later, completely blocked it, and it's all come back now, thick and fast. But my lasting thing from it all was the question of, if that's real, if all that world's real, is heaven and hell real? And I've been left with that all these years later, still pondering over, you know, if this paranormal, if there really is another dimension, then surely heaven and hell's real. And it's left a conundrum all these years later. But it was terrifying. And I think these people who ghost hunt, I think if they really has an experience, they wouldn't mess with it. You'd realise it's so powerful and it's so scary. Why would you go looking for it? But that's my story.
Well, thanks for sharing.
Thank you for having me.
And thanks for staying up with me.
Always, whether I'm work or here.
I appreciate you. And I've had quite a few NDE guests from London.
Yes.
Have you seen them?
They're interesting. I've watched many of your videos. I can't say I've experienced anything like that, but it must be. There's always some kind of similarities in most of these, though. Another just makes you ponder, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It really does.
I hope I get over there someday and I can get all those NDE guests together and my viewers and have like one big party.
We'd all love to have you. I can see you in Trafalgar Square now, calling it on, and everyone just coming.
Great.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Thanks for stopping by, Rebecca. You have a good
night. Take care. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, guys. I think that's going to be it for today's podcast. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. It was our best one yet. I can't remember what the highest was. 380 something, 383. That is amazing. Almost 400. So I really appreciate you guys very much. Have a great rest of your night, and I hope you enjoy the podcast tomorrow. You guys take care, and let me find my thing here. You guys take care,